Multiverses.
This is absolutely incredible. I just want to thank my family for all the sacrifices, and thank you to Player First Games, startup. Also, thank you, Warner Brothers, for really trusting in us and taking a chance on a brand new studio that hasn't done anything before and giving us this opportunity. And finally, I'd love to thank all the players that have played our game, love our game. Thank you for our community. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations, Multiverses. Okay, the house is filling up behind me. We're about halfway to the big show. But first, it's time for a brand new announcement of a brand new game right here at the Game Awards.
Okay, hey friends, can you hear me? Let me know how things are sounding. I'm turning into an old man. I don't know how to do these live streams. Nice, thanks, Sean. Okay, that's good to know. A little more volume than on the stream, maybe. Okay, how's that mix? Testing the mix, testing the mix. Come on, you guys are my QA staff here. More. I like it. Caveman's like, I want 11. Can't really hear the show. Your voice is at a better level.
Am I right?
Let me see if I could boost the show more.
So now I have the honor of announcing the winners for 5 esports categories. The nominees for Best Esports Game are, and the Game Award goes to Valorant. Congratulations. For Best Esports Athlete, the nominees are, and the Game Award goes to, yay!
Yeah, I'm using Streamlabs. I don't know if anybody here is familiar with streaming software. Streamlabs is saying the browser source is maxed out.
Loud. For Best Esports Coach, the nominees are, and the Game Award goes to Bazooka.
Seeing if I can do anything in the back and on YouTube here. Yeah, they're definitely flying through these categories, Peter. I heard something about like an elephant plushie or something, maybe. I've missed like all of this.
A huge congratulations to you all. Tonight, watch the Game Awards on Steam, where they are giving away a Steam Deck every minute. And on Twitch, there are viewer rewards, including a free game from Epic, Jeff's Among Us Mask returns, and a special Fall Guys Gears 4 skin. And now, so many world premieres and only a little bit more time. Let's get right to 3 more, starting with a look at something new in the Horizon world, which is up for Game of the Year. Horizon also won an award as part of the Game Maker's Sketchbook, which celebrates great video game art. Here's a new look at the PSVR 2 game, Call of the Map.
Okay, yeah, I've tinkered around, guys. I'm not really seeing how I can max out the volume anymore, unfortunately. It looks like I'm tapped out. So let me know if you can hear it a little bit. And if not, unfortunately, you might want to open up another tab just for the show volume. I mean, to be honest, I've never live streamed before, so just the fact that I'm live feels like an accomplishment. Oh, really? No emojis, Caveman? Can you use like the YouTube emojis? I just dropped one in. Yo, Leland, what's going on, man? Oh, there we go. Sean's got a creepy emoji going. One showed up on my homepage, and that link is broken and doesn't stream. Interesting. Let me see if I can take a look, Peter, to see if I see what you're seeing. That's weird, Peter, because if I go to just like my channel page, if you go to home, like the very top thing is the live stream, and then if you click on it, it's the one we're all on. So it's kind of weird. Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay, so Peter, I just deleted that other one that was like a scheduled stream or something. I think that one's gone now.
Very intrigued by Viewfinder. I'm getting portal vibes from this for sure. Use the hashtag game night to celebrate gaming's biggest moment.
Yeah, super weird. I think we're all consolidated now, though. There shouldn't be another one. This should be the only one now. Yeah, cool. The other one's dead. Just gonna tweet this correct link real quick. Peter, do you mind dropping a link to this correct stream just into the Discord? You can at everybody. And I'm just gonna tweet it real quick. This music's a little intense. What do we have here? Oh, this game. I've been seeing everybody dragging that game's cover art through the mud. Have you guys seen that?
Sentient contact assessment and response team. Where am I? What planet is this? Did the metahedron bring us here? How far would you go?
Okay, links tweeted. I'm good to go. The Game Awards now has my undivided attention. I'm eating some udon noodles, which I know is like a streaming faux pas. This is my first ever live stream, and I'm doing the thing they tell you to never do on live stream. Yeah, Leland, is the Street Fighter 6 thing legit? I thought I saw something about that today. Like that was maybe confirmed already? Yeah, udon gang. Oh, I'm eating those nudes. They're good, too. Oh, man's got to eat. What kind of Mexican, caveman? Enchiladas, tacos. tortas. Ooh, cheese dip. You know, I was never into queso until recently. It always kind of grossed me out a little bit. And I'm suddenly super into queso.
Average Jonas is in the house. He's Verizon's ambassadors, and
Average
today Verizon
Jonas.
has a special offer on the Xbox Series S. Scan the QR code below to pick.
Well, we got a Verizon ambassador here. I'm interested now. This is what we're here for.
For Jonas on Instagram for more fun details. And I have to say, I want you to know I love all my world premieres equally, and I try not to play favorites. But I have to admit, I'm extra excited about this one. Here's a special announcement from Among Us.
See, this is what I love about the Game Awards. Like, we're barely into it, and we already have like a Verizon rep presenting something from Among Us. Like, this is what it's about. This is gaming right here. Although this like animation's kind of cute. Among Us in Fortnite. But also probably, Leland, like probably that's coming up. Is Jeff Keighley in Fortnite yet? That feels due. A Jeff Keighley skin. Yeah, I feel like everybody is kind of loyal to the fighting franchise they grew up with. Like, I grew up with Mortal Kombat. I had Mortal Kombat Trilogy on PS1, so I just always go to Mortal Kombat. Like, that's my comfort zone. And then, like, some people grew up with Tekken, some people grew up with Street Fighter. So I feel like it's kind of like whatever you grew up with for the most part. Never played Tekken, but I've always liked Street Fighter. Street Fighter's fun. Apologies, I'll be a little chattier once I get through this udon. But as Caveman already said, man's gotta eat. What are we looking at here? Private division? Oh, yeah, Peter, what was that? Was that Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube that had Link? I can't remember which one that was, but yeah, that was so cool. Like, at that time, seeing Link in a non-Zelda game felt pretty novel.
Uh-oh, maybe now I have two favorites? I think my New Year's resolution will be to just play games all day and never leave my house. Well, if you're streaming tonight, you can see these seats filling up behind me. We're getting ready to kick off gaming's biggest night.
So this is like the pre-show still, I get? What does this count? Is this the countdown until Jeff, like, jetpacks in some weird sneakers? I forget this gal's name. She worked at IGN, I think, for some years. She's kind of an entity now. I think she's done it the last couple years. He's gonna come down on wires like Batman. Yeah, this is the lower tier stuff. We want the top shelf. We don't want a well cocktail. I think we're at the point where Jeff Keighley should probably come in on like a rocket or a jetpack. It should be some kind of fuel propelled entry, I think, at this point for him. What do you think Jeff's doing year round? Like when he's not doing this, what is he actually doing? Like, is he a vampire? Is he artificial intelligence? He's gonna ride in on Pot Boy. What if he is Pot Boy? What if he comes in as the pot? I'd be into that. I want him to come in, though, on the big Pot Boy. Right? The Pot Boy and Khaled outside the Coliseum. Like, I want him to Kool-Aid guy style just destroy this arena in LA that they're in.
And now I have one of my favorite awards in gaming, Best Family Game. Family games are what we all grew up on. Carmen Sandiego, Mario, Doom, Resident
Best family game. One problem I have with the Game Awards is that there's not a platformer category. That anything that's not like a serious shooter or RPG just gets chucked in this family category, which I feel like is, it sounds pejorative, you know? It kind of sounds like a knock.
and the Forgotten Land.
Like, I'd love to see Sparks of Hope or Splatoon win this, but if that's all that either of those two games were to win
Sparks of Hope.
at this show, I don't know. Best family game just feels like a knock to me.
And Splatoon 3. And the Game Award goes to Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Did she make a joke about therapy? I totally missed that.
Thank you so much for this award and recognition. I'm accepting this on behalf of
Oh, Doug Bowser.
teams
He's so weird.
and Nintendo that worked on Kirby and the Forgotten Land. You know, this is the 30th anniversary of the Kirby series, and it's pretty cool to see this little cute but powerful guy finally win one of these. And all he had to do was go full mouthful mode on a giant car to do it. Thanks again for this. Really appreciate it.
Do you guys miss Reggie? I just am not feeling Doug Bowser. He's just like a marketing guy, you know? Like, he's probably a decent guy. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
A franchise that has been around for 30
But Reggie was just such a character. And Doug Bowser, yeah, he's just a corporate marketing professional, you know?
Special world premiere from Street Fighter 6.
Ooh, Street Fighter. I can't tell exactly where I am versus the live stream. I think I might be like maybe 10 seconds ahead of the chat. Ask and you shall receive, Leland. Yeah, the Reg. For Meister, 2 seconds behind. Caveman's got that serious internet. Okay, mini games. That's interesting. Capcom Mies. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Like, it's more than just fighting gameplay. They're showing a lot of other stuff too. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Yeah, Caveman, I saw that too. Steam Deck giveaway. That's pretty cool. Play Elden Ring on the toilet. Who doesn't want to do that? Okay, now they're showing just more combat, like fighting gameplay. Yeah, it kind of looked like Mario Party at first. I was like, what is this? And it's like, okay, this is Street Fighter. What's that account? I'm sure you guys know that account. It's just pictures of toilets, like Soulsborne inspired toilets. Yeah, does anybody know what I'm talking about? The toilet account? It's so crazy. All right, June 2nd, pre-order now.
It's time to level up to our big show where we have more awards, musical performances, and even more world premieres of incredible games. I know it's hard to imagine that there's still more show, but that's how much the world of gaming is thriving right now.
I'm gonna find this account and drop it into the chat.
Plus incredible presenters, a musical performance by Hosier, and so
Did I see too at the beginning of this? I might have totally misread this, but was Returnal going to PC? Did I see that announcement?
thank you all for ramping up the night with me. Now it's time for me to grab my seat. Until next time, the 2022 Game Awards starts now.
Okay, here it comes. Brace yourself. Dark Souls toilet.
To the Game Awards 2022. Now, here's your host, the creator of the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, I noticed that right away too, Peter. Yeah, we've been talking about the different editions and you kind of can't get everything. Here's Jeff, no jetpack.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game Awards. It feels so amazing to be back in person with the fans and to have the entire industry with us here tonight.
Do you think Jeff is like 800 years old? Yeah, I bet he's like 800 years old. He's been around a while. He's probably died a couple times.
Nominated for Game of the Year tonight, which is great. Kratos himself, Christopher Judge, is in the house. Man engaged, incredible in immortality. Welcome to the Game Awards.
Yeah, the only person who's immortal here is Jeff Keighley.
Xbox with us. Welcome, Phil. Doug Bowser from Nintendo. You saw him accepting an award already in the opening act.
Okay, now he's going to reference the guy from Sega who just got arrested, right?
And of course, last year's Game of the Year winner, Joseph Ferris, is back.
Nope, skipped that guy. Skipped him. We're just going to shout out the big three tonight.
Everyone's here. Look, even Animal is here, guys.
Even that guy who got arrested for insider trading, he's somehow here in an ankle bracelet.
Can't take him anywhere. I should have booked Kermit. All right, well.
Oh my god. I love the Muppets.
Live around the world. Thank you for being a part of this community. Tonight, we are going to honor the best.
Can just all the celebrities be removed from the crowd and just be replaced with Muppets?
lineup, including the first ever look at the gameplay of Star Wars Jedi Survivor from Respawn.
Miyazaki-san in the house.
16.
He's here to pick up some hardware.
From the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Okay, Super Mario.
And many, many new game announcements and surprises. Trust me, we've got a lot of things, no leaks. We're very excited about what we're about to share with you guys.
No leaks, says Jeff.
Our first award. To present it, I am so honored to welcome one of the great actors of our generation or any other. He's a two-time Tony winner, a two-time Emmy winner, and an Academy Award winner.
Welcoming Will Smith.
To the Game Awards,
Here to slap everybody.
Pacino.
Al Pacino? What? I mean, Sean, if you want Danny DeVito, I mean, Al Pacino's in the house. So, you know, Danny DeVito might be here. What is Al Pacino doing here? What did they pay him? I mean, to be fair, he probably doesn't even know he's here, to be honest.
It's really good to see you here. This is an experience for me.
Oh, I bet it's an experience.
I didn't expect, but here I am, as usual, doing my surprising thing to myself. But anyway, I may come as it may come as a shock to you, but
Oh, it's a shock, Al. It's a shock.
It's hard for me to see the teleprompter.
Al Pacino, the game,
But anyway,
coming in 2024.
but in truth, I don't play a whole lot of video games. But I do have, however,
You're in purgatory, Sean.
time watching
You're between dimensions. You know, Caveman, I actually loved Scarface back on the PS2. I actually liked it more than, I don't know if you guys played the Godfather games. I didn't like Godfather 2, but the first Godfather game was pretty fun. It was that same era, like 2006, 7. And in Scarface, you could like take boats to Cuba and do drug deals, and there was this sort of Oblivion style like communication mechanic, and it was so much fun. It was a silly game, but you could customize your mansion. I remember the gameplay was pretty stiff, as were a lot of games back in that day. But yeah, that Godfather, those games were fun. That was a cool era, like the early GTA clones.
or inside
Al's still going, by the way.
always,
They're gonna have to play him off.
always, we're the same. We
What music do you think they'd play? You know, like with the Oscars, they play that orchestral music to get people off the stage. What would you play at the Game Awards? Would you play that awful music from the new Yoshi game, like Yoshi's New Island? Like the kazoo song? I think that's what you play. I think that would get people off the stage pretty quickly.
of these incredibly talented actors who, by breathing life into these stories, have helped elevate the medium of video games to a new height. And now,
Maybe he's going to announce WarioWare DLC featuring him, Al Pacino.
of the year,
It's going to be Kratos, right? It's got to be Kratos. Aloy's gotten too serious, in my opinion. She's too serious these days. Yeah, it's going to be Judge. Pacino Fortnite skin. Yeah, it's got to be.
best performance. I'm working out now. This is heavy. Finally, I didn't work out today, so I'm doing. You don't mind, do you, if I do a little thing?
Oh boy. Speaking of well cocktails, I think Al's had a few.
Winner, Christopher Judge.
Yeah, that's fair. You can't really argue with that. This guy has clearly brought Kratos, like given Kratos new life. He takes the role really seriously. Oh, he's super dripped out. I mean, he's wet. Oh yeah, hug out. I mean, how many opportunities do you get in your life to hug Al Pacino? Someone's luring Al off the stage with a whiskey. Like, come here, Al. Come on. We're all done now. Time to go home.
Thank you to the Game Awards. First off, I have to thank my mama. Whose belief that I would amount to something good would never waver, even though it looked like I'd never amount to anything good. My brother.
It's funny if you don't look at the screen, it does kind of sound like Kratos is giving this speech, like thanking his mama.
Went to medical school and is now Dr. Judge.
He's got to do a boy, right? He's got to do boy.
My children. Who I am forever
And still, the best role I've ever had is being your dad. Sony Santa Monica. Miss Yumi Yang, it is an honor and a pleasure to work for you and with you. You are a unicorn because you actually proved that for the first time ever, the trickle-down theory actually worked.
Christopher Judge promoting trickle-down economics here in his Game Awards speech.
Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for having me read for the role. I was the last actor in California to read for it. And Corey said to me he didn't think I would do it. And if I had known it was a video game back then, I might not have. Boy, how things have changed. Matt, Rich, Dory, Bruno, Erica, B, everyone.
Yeah, like you all know, I don't really play or vibe with God of War, but I mean, this guy has clearly done a lot to bring that franchise back, and he's one of those few actors who's really elevating motion capture and acting in the medium, and yeah, there's no denying that.
To get this game out.
And you can tell Kratos is like a religious experience for him. Like this is he takes it really seriously, and I think you can definitely respect that.
Mr. Eric Williams. I think it's kind of common knowledge that we were honored to go to Tribeca after 2018. And when Corey took me outside and said he wouldn't be directing the next one, I literally did quit. And he said, "No, I vouch for Eric." And I said, "Eric Williams better be a beast." Eric Williams is a motherfucking beast. I relate to Corey
Oh, that's interesting, Leyland. So you didn't play the game, but you experienced the story though, through someone else's like Let's Play or stream. Yeah, that's interesting. It seems like the kind of game you could do that with
are from such the same
because it is so story heavy.
country. Two different upbringings, but two from a very similar emotional place. And I'll never forget, I guess I can't say what it was, but it was something that moved me so deeply. And there's a time frame that cinematics have to fit into. Hopefully not speeches. And I couldn't reel it in. And Eric came over to me. And he just hugged me. And just held me as I was sobbing. And then he said words I will never forget. "Okay, big guy, now give us one we can use." To this amazing, wonderful group of actors, who brought as much or more than I did every single day. I mean,
Well, and in 2018, for the 2018 show, or maybe it was the 2019 show, I can't remember if it
Heartache.
made the cutoff. I think it did, but Red Dead, Roger Clark, I think won, right? Best performance or best actor. And then God of War won Game of the Year, but Judge has not won before, I don't think.
All those days in that volume with you. This is
Oh, they're giving him the music.
Sonny. I wasn't lying. I voted for you.
It's getting louder, too. This is kind of awkward.
Your work was astounding. You're the future.
Keely's like, yo, we
It's never
got to keep the show on the road here.
the two things I personally gave you. Hire me. Don't be a douchebag.
Imagine if this is the beginning of like a 3-hour long
Was you touched?
speech.
Girls because you got
Like 3 hours from now, he's still going.
very difficult, dark time that's still not over.
You could actually argue that the music's enhancing the
The
speech.
gay community means so much to this world, so much in the course of dreams and escapism and just being better. Thank you. Thank you to the rest of the audience. Have a great night. And I met Al Pacino.
Yeah, they played him off. He was pretty stubborn.
Great moment, Chris Judge. I think he was trying to give away a few extra Steam Decks as well. All right, it's time to get the announcements rolling here at the Game Awards. Tonight, many of the world's top studios are here at the Game Awards to give you a glimpse at the exciting future of video games in 2023 and beyond. Our first world premiere comes from a small but highly acclaimed studio that needs no introduction at this point and whose last game earned multiple awards here at TGA. I'm very excited to share the global announcement of their next project. Here we go!
Okay, Super Giant. Been kind of wondering about them, like what was going to come after Hades.
Not good enough. We can but learn, and the greatest teacher is out there. Now go. Death to Kronos. Death to Kronos.
I mean, the animation's really nice.
Opportunity for you to make a better future for us all. The least I can do is light your way down.
About ready to give in? No. I was born for this.
You trifle with powers far beyond your comprehension, witch.
Okay if I call you wench like that?
Isn't it crazy how low the bar is that, like, you're so excited when you see real gameplay in a trailer? Like, you see the menu interface, you see dialogue, you see running, you see attacking. Like, that's how low the bar is. That it's just so exciting when you see an actual game in action. Oh, that's cool. That's a sick logo. That's a cool reveal.
Getting started. Hades 2 is the next game and first ever sequel now in development at Supergiant Games, like the original, which was revealed here at TGA in 2018. Hades 2 is going to be developed in early access.
Overrated, give me CGI.
And news on early access is coming in 2023. I'm so excited about this one. We're taking a journey to an exciting new world with a world premiere from a studio led by someone with a legacy of building incredible narrative-driven games and creating genre-defining experiences. It's moments like this that get me excited.
Oh boy, Jeff's building this one up. What do we got here? Naughty Dog? A legacy of story-driven games. Oh. Oh. Okay.
Is dying. And my only way out of here is with one of them.
So I assume they're talking about Ken Levine? If they're saying the creator of BioShock? Oh, it even looks like BioShock. That, like, really surreal, kind of absurd, slightly cartoony first-person POV.
People say help is coming. And you know what? They're right.
I do. What was that studio? Irrational Games, right? That was that was Ken Levine's BioShock studio. I do feel like the industry's been a little weird without them, or at least like without that kind of vision in the space, I guess. Judas.
First look at Judas coming from Ghost Story Games, led by Ken Levine.
Yep,
who is
Ken
creating
Levine, new studio.
titles like Rapture and Columbia. A few months ago, I visited the studio in Boston and played multiple hours of this game. And
Yeah, that's a good point, Peter. It's a little bit like what happened with Callisto Protocol and that studio ceasing to exist, and it's basically a new studio. It's the same creator, same vision. Yeah, it's a similar kind of thing.
All right, well, let's go to another brand new game announcement for the fans here at the Game Awards.
I mean, a new Ken Levine game in Hades 2 to open the show that's not shabby. Okay. Huh. Bayonetta. I have like a rational Mario hype tonight. Like I know that like Mario Odyssey is probably just never gonna happen, but as soon as I saw the Switch snap, it was like Mario Odyssey 2. Yeah, it's probably DLC, Peter. That's what I would think. Never played Bayonetta. Just kind of never really appealed, but Bayonetta Origins. What I've heard is a lot of people have said that like Bayonetta 3 has the best gameplay of the series, but the story was just kind of whack, and like a lot of people didn't seem real satisfied with the conclusion. I mean, this is, I'm assuming, an all-new game? Yeah, I mean, there definitely should be Odyssey 2. You feel like it should already exist, or it should already be announced. Yeah, you're right, it does look like mobile, and it's just classic Nintendo, right? Like Bayonetta 3 just came out, and now like here's more Bayonetta. It's weird. Like they neglect so many like IPs, but they kind of did that with Kirby too, right? They've been on this Kirby bender for a while, and it's really cool for Kirby fans. And it's not even to complain about it. It's just strange. It's just Nintendo being Nintendo and being so unpredictable. Like when they get into something, they get so into it and they push it. I feel like if you try to make sense of Nintendo's business strategy, you're just gonna lose your mind.
Cereza and the Lost Demon.
Bayonetta Origins, but it says Switch though. It did say Nintendo Switch, so I think it's a Switch game. But right, saying it looks like a mobile game is like the
That's
truth.
right, following on the heels of Bayonetta 3, it won't be long until you get to play this brand new action-adventure game in the Bayonetta series on March the 7th.
Yeah, it's just a normal Switch game. Yeah, on the heels, right? It's weird. Like, there's just another Bayonetta game.
You also have a shot at some cool free stuff just for watching the Game Awards. On Steam, Valve is...
And I totally relate to people who are like, well, what about Donkey Kong? What about Metroid? What about F-Zero? What about Earthbound? Like, all these neglected franchises. Yeah, it is. It's just strange. It's Nintendo being Nintendo. But, I mean, if you're a hardcore Bayonetta fan, you're psyched. Like, you're eating good.
We also have Twitch viewer rewards. Watch 60 minutes of the show tonight on our Twitch channel, and you'll get the limited edition Jeff Keighley Among Us mask. Yes, it's back. An awesome
Oh, God.
Diaz for Gears of War costume in Fall Guys, and a full free game, Rogue Legacy, on the Epic Games Store, and more.
Guys, if you watch this full stream, you get some loot boxes. Some super exclusive terapop sponsored loot boxes. I can't tell you what's in them. I can't even tell you what game they're for. But they're there. They're coming.
The server are my family. I remember being at my lowest point. The members of this server were here for me.
Seeing everyone in the Discord, this world of passion and grief, but in a positive light.
I have been through so much with these people.
This really made me believe that video games can help people heal.
We love how you have fun.
Oh, we're getting a Switch sizzle reel. It's probably nothing, but you always gotta watch these carefully. I too want to snuggle in at night with a Miyazaki Goat plushie.
From adorable adventures to blasts from the past.
Leland, you use Streamlabs, right? I'm not super familiar with the software, but like I have the browser source volume, like the audio bumped all the way up, and I know it's still super quiet. I don't know, I'll have to mess around with the software a little bit more, but I'm not sure if you have like a quick hack for that. I know you're way more versed in streaming software than I am. Pikmin 4 makes the sizzle reel. Forget Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4.
See where the fun takes you in 2023.
Rated M for mature.
Oh, what's this?
There's no hope.
Oh, is this Dead Space? Is this Dead Space ad?
I've got to escape. Every sound, every movement is closing in. This dead moon, it's not done with me yet. Just one thing to do. Survive.
I mean, sick ad. Still curious. Still gonna play the game for myself.
This is not of this world. We need new heroes. Fearless recruits. With the guts to look evil in the eye. Who we gonna call?
Oh, a game plugin. Yeah, that's a good idea. I could definitely see the base software just being like a little bare bones, maybe a little janky.
That was close.
We're gonna need a bigger trap.
Yeah, I'll probably look into it later. Again, it feels like a miracle I actually have this going, so I don't want to tamper with anything too much. But I feel like now that I got this going, I'll probably do this again in the future. And yeah, I'll figure out how to boost the audio next time. Oh, yeah. Ghostbusters theme never gets old.
Music to life on stage, now to perform Blood Upon the Snow from tonight's most nominated game, God of War Ragnarok.
See, he's right next to Christopher Judge. He's like, dude, we are 15 minutes behind schedule now.
Bear McCreary and the Game Awards Orchestra, conducted by Warren Balfe.
Did any of you watch, I think it was in 2016 or 2017, when Mick Gordon had a band with him? Like, he actually came in from Australia and did a Doom 2016 medley. It was so sick. The people in the crowd had no idea how to react. He was headbanging, thrashing around, spinning his guitar. That was the sickest music performance ever. And I have to say, the Red Dead Redemption 2 medley they did, I guess that would have been in 2018. That was incredible. I'm trying to think of that guy's name. Is it D'Angelo or... I forget that like great vocalist who did a couple of the pieces in that game, but that performance was awesome. Oh yeah, Leland, you're just using the audio from another one and it's lining up pretty good. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'll figure it out next time. Oh yeah, the Persona 5 band. I wonder which year would that have been? That was 2016, I think. So that, I don't know that that was the same year as Mick Gordon's performance, or maybe it was. I don't know. I think they do two musical performances. Oh, cool, Caveman. Yeah, I'm glad you're digging it. Glad it's working. Yeah, is that a bona fide hurdy-gurdy, Leland? I have to make my video bigger here so I can see. I mean, dude's got a nice voice. Oh yeah, it totally looks like a hurdy-gurdy. Just standing in the fog with a hurdy-gurdy. Yeah, this guy's got an incredible voice. Does anyone know, did this guy actually record vocals for the in-game soundtrack? Song wasn't in game. Oh, really? The hurdy-gurdy was. Oh, okay. I think I missed that. The band name. Oh yeah, the church guy.
I'm grateful to have them back again, and it's sincerely a joy to hear the music from games we love come to life on this stage. It's amazing what that orchestra puts together in just a few weeks of rehearsal. They'll be back later in the show to pay tribute to our Game of the Year nominees. This year, a record-setting
Ooh, we're gonna hear a little Elden Ring music then.
On our website, on Billy in China, and on our Discord server. You can head over to discord.com.
Billy in China. Sick.
Discussion about the show. Right now, to present our next award from the new film Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery, premiering December 23rd on Netflix, please welcome Jessica Hennick.
I don't want to alarm anyone, but someone in this room is a murderer.
I mean, she's probably not lying. Like, I'm sure somebody in the room. Oh, Reggie! The Reg is in the building.
Just kidding.
His body is ready.
Also, statistically speaking, someone in this theater probably is a murderer. I'm sorry. Let's not think about that. Anyway, I don't want to spoil.
I mean, she's probably killed somebody.
There is a very popular video game featured in it, and now to give you some more clues, please welcome writer-director Ryan Johnson and the star of Glass Onion, Daniel Craig.
Oh, Daniel Craig in the house. Oh, not in the house, actually. Pre-recorded.
So excited for you to see our new film. We have a special scene in it for fans of a certain game, so we wanted to bring a little something to that game.
That's you. That's been my boy. Look at him. He's adorable. Nice.
Hollywood types plugging Among Us. Again, this is what we're here for.
Best debut indie.
Ooh, best debut indie.
From hell to do God's dirty work, and I'm finding it hard to believe we're in heaven.
I feel like Neon White would be a fair winner in this category. But Stray is also really cute for what it is, right? It's like pretty undeniably adorable. But Tunic, I mean, Tunic would be my pick. Tunic Tunic could be an NES game. Like it's got those Zelda roots. It's just all gameplay, beautiful style.
And the Game Award for Best Debut Indie goes to Stray.
Oh. Yeah, you thought Tunic was missing something, Leland? That's probably fair. You know, it's like a $30 indie. It's a debut game. I mean, Stray too, what? Stray's like 5 hours. You know, you can blitz through Stray in like 5 hours.
Sorry to actually. Thank you so much.
Can't compete with the real life cat mechanics. Yeah, if Stray was true to life, the protagonist cat would be insane. Would be like this mentally ill, bipolar, violent maniac.
This game is really a work of love and passion, and all the talented members of our team put everything they have to make this game real. Thanks to everyone who has helped us along the way, our friends, families, partners, companions, dogs, cats, obviously, really important. Annapurna Interactive, you guys are amazing. You make dreams happen. Thank you so much. You've been with us the whole way through. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's fair. Not a lot in the narrative department with Tunic.
To the players, we put such a big part of our lives.
I do think what's
So seeing people enjoy
cool about Stray is at a glance, it doesn't really look like an indie. You know, at a glance, it looks like it could be some AAA title.
Congratulations, Stray, and now an exclusive first look at the gameplay from Lightfall, Destiny 2's next chapter, launching in February. Join your
Does anybody here play Destiny?
cosmic powers of the universe and cancel
I mean,
apocalypse.
I obviously like dig Bungie, Halo, like old school Halo. And I know a lot of people who are serious into gaming, and they love Destiny. It seems like there's more meat to it. There's more depth. That the gameplay loop of Destiny seems to be like more satisfying than, you know, a lot of the free to plays. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I can just tell it's nothing that would like hook me in a meaningful way. But yeah, I mean, people love it. People love it. I mean, it's certainly, to me on the surface, seems like a cut above a lot of the other free-to-play shooters. But, at the same time, like, I have finite time to game. You know, am I going to spend that time playing Destiny? Probably not. But, yeah, right. Like, absolutely addicted. Yeah. It clearly gets its teeth into people that way. The loop. Unlocking new cosmetics and just, yeah, they get so deep into it. But, you know. Can we outlaw all games with the fall suffix? Like anything fall. That's so played out. Rocksteady? Is this the Suicide Squad game? Oh yeah, Anthem was a mess, Peter. See, but they have to like, I don't know. I'm sure some DC fans will feel differently. I know some DC fans feel differently. But even in this trailer, they have to sort of acknowledge like somewhat of an absence of Batman in this game. I don't know. I would have loved to see Arkham continue. Like, I don't see why the Arkham games have to end for there to be a Suicide Squad game. And I know people, a lot of fans had issues with Knight. I loved Knight. I mean, I don't think it's as flawless of a game as like Asylum, but I still think it's an awesome superhero simulator. And I don't know. Like, I've been a lifelong DC fan, but Suicide Squad has just never been my favorite corner of the DC universe. And yeah, I don't know. Just feeling a little skeptical about this game. Well, then Gotham Knights, I know, is Caveman. I know you talked about that too. Like, some fun to be had, but overall, like, a pretty messy, choppy game. Well, again, we're getting a cinematic trailer here, right? I mean, this is me being a curmudgeon, but it's like, make a movie. If you want to do this, make a movie. Let's see gameplay. Let's see what Suicide Squad gameplay looks like versus, okay, there's Batman. There we go.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman.
Little Kevin Conroy. It's cool. It's just like, let's see gameplay.
After 30 years as the iconic voice of Batman in the Arkham video games, Batman...
Oh, that's cool they're acknowledging Conroy.
Actor Kevin Conroy sadly passed away.
Not just as like a pop culture figure, but at this point, he's had a huge presence in games too.
Amazing in the Arkham games, and I know we're all going to miss him dearly. Well, tonight, we can share that he will return to Rocksteady's Arkhamverse one final time to play Batman in Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, when the game releases on May 26th of next year.
I mean, not to be pessimistic, but I honestly feel like they're leveraging Kevin Conroy's death here to sell copies of Suicide Squad. Because there probably are a lot of Arkham fans who are skeptical about Suicide Squad, and it's like, oh, but Kevin Conroy, gonna have to buy it, right? You want to hear him do the bat, which, like, of course, I do too. But yeah, Peter, I mean, I'm with you though. I think the more glass half full perspective is, at least Keighley took a moment to acknowledge Conroy. I mean, when people ask, like, who's my favorite Batman, I always say Kevin Conroy. I mean, I like Keaton, I like Christian Bale, but I grew up with the animated series. I grew up with Conroy's voice, and to me, he is just always going to be Batman. Like, I grew up with Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, so is Pierce Brosnan the greatest James Bond? I don't know. But when I think of James Bond, like, I'll always think of Brosnan first. And that's how I am with Conroy and Batman. Like, they're just inseparable. So that is really cool. And I even have to admit, like, I'm going to be tempted to, like, maybe touch the game just to get that last taste of Kevin Conroy. Because, I mean, for anybody who knows the Arkham games and actually played through them, you know how much Conroy put into those games. Like, think about the hundreds, thousands of lines of dialogue. I mean, those games were Kevin Conroy performances. Like, they were Batman experiences. So, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I do think they're doing that. I think they're trying to sell Suicide Squad off Kevin Conroy's death, but I also can't say it won't work. I don't know. It's interesting. I just want to see gameplay. That's all anybody really cares about, and I just wish these studios, like, I don't know, it's like, don't show us something until you have something to show. I guess not everybody sees gaming that way, but I always will. Another sizzle reel. Probably not much to see here, though. Nothing new. You do notice, though, we are what? I mean, I've been live for over an hour. I know the official show hasn't been running for that long yet. What, 68 minutes? Not quite. But we've not even gotten one drop about From Software. Not one reference, nothing. So, I don't know. I mean, Jeff Keighley, some of his antics, I think some of his allegiances, they annoy me. Like, I take issue with the Game Awards, the format, the judging, the conflicts of interest, like the lack of ethics behind some of this stuff. But Keighley's got a huge platform at this point, like it or not. And you know he at least admires From Software and Miyazaki. Like, does he really care? I don't know. I don't know that that's even relevant. But he does admire them, and he understands their importance in the industry. And he's done a lot to promote them and to, I think, probably convert some casual gamers on From Software. Like, you know, the needle moved when Keighley debuted the gameplay trailer of Elden Ring. Like, people saw that who may otherwise have not cared. So, I mean, credit to Jeff at least for that. And it's like, come on, we're not going to go this whole show. And it's like, maybe Elden Ring's nominated in a few categories and maybe you hear a song. Like, Miyazaki's in the house. Like, there's got to be something. There's got to be something. But yeah, Peter, you're right. I mean, I would also expect not until the end. I mean, FromSoft's like a showstopper. So.
While the game offers various modes to encourage different styles of gameplay, but we all know that the only thing that's truly interesting is to watch your friends lose their shit. Oh, I forgot. There are lots of weapons, all very realistic. John Wick really needs to learn how to use this. And the final and biggest feature of the game, butt scratching. Party Animals. Play with your friends on Steam and Xbox. Coming 2023.
One thing I'll say about the Game Awards, like I'm reminded just watching these ads and these sizzle reels versus like the Oscars or the Emmys or anything else, the Grammys. The Game Awards is an advertising show. That's all it is. It's 2 hours of ads. And they don't shy away from that. What you see is what you get. And that's what we're here for. We're here to be advertised to.
But now, to present Best Adaptation, please welcome the host of TGA Opening Act, Sydney Goodman.
Sydney, Best Adaptation. What a boring category, in my opinion. It's funny, they gloss over a lot of categories. Like Family Game was relegated to the pre-show of sorts, but adaptation gets prime time.
For Best Adaptation. This award celebrates when beloved characters and stories from gaming are lovingly transported to films and television. Here are the nominees.
This award celebrates laziness and corporate greed. This award is about those people who stayed away from risk-taking and did exactly what they knew would make money. I have heard the Cyberpunk anime is sick, though. I'm not a big anime fan, but I've been curious to check it out because I do really enjoy Cyberpunk. And yeah, I've heard really good things about that show.
For Best Adaptation goes to Arcane League of Legends.
No, y'all were right.
It's an incredible honor to be awarded.
Yeah, I mean, to your point about the Cuphead show, Peter, like, nothing about enjoying Cuphead as a game motivates me to watch a show about Cuphead. Like, they're just not the same thing. It's like, oh, I liked playing Cuphead, so I'm going to sit down and watch this Cuphead show. Like, at least my brain doesn't work that way. And I love Cuphead. I think it's incredible. But, yeah, I don't know. Hard to care.
Mark, Sean, and Brandon. It's just been.
But I guess Edge Runners, yeah, what makes it a little different is that it's a completely different art style than the game. It seems to be a little more lovingly made than a lot of these adaptations, but hard to say.
Congratulations, Arcane League of Legends. And speaking of adaptations, later we'll have the first clip from the new Super Mario Brothers animated movie. Can't wait.
Oh, a full clip from the Mario movie. Okay.
Games coming gameplay footage of Tekken 8. There's lots more
Gameplay of Tekken 8.
and that means lots more Steam Decks to give away. But now it's time for the world premiere of a long-awaited game.
A long-awaited game.
The order is gone. I was betrayed by the one I trusted most. I will not be imprisoned again.
Is this a Souls-like? I think it's a Souls-like, guys.
I hear you've been busy making yourself the Empire's most wanted.
Jedi. Remind our friend here why his gods were supposed to be dead. After all we've done, the Empire's only grown stronger. Explode. Or the Junkers. The Jedi is a threat.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously jazzed about the Souls stuff, but I mean, Fallen Order. Oh, people loved Fallen Order. People were obsessed with that game. Glitchy's interesting. I never played it. I just haven't been into Star Wars for years, but I did love Force Unleashed back in the day. I did put quite a few hours into those games, especially the first one. Jedi Survivor.
The hero of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Cameron Monaghan.
Yeah, there you go. Dash Rendar. Shadows the Empire on 64 was so good.
It's an incredible honor to wield this lightsaber again. And I think I can speak for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I push back on the Souls-like thing a little bit because I don't like the loot collecting, the art, the really deep attributes, the complex like weapon switching and stuff. I think there's so many elements missing that make a true Souls-like, and you know, any third-person game with a dodge button now is a Souls-like. But in a way, it's just because of how popular, you know, Dark Souls and Elden Ring and Bloodborne and Sekiro are that it's tempting, you know. But it's interesting. This guy, the protagonist, I mean, it's like true to form. Like he really is. It's not just motion capture. Feels like they do capture his likeness really closely.
Next, we're proud to support independent games here at the Game Awards. This next world premiere comes from a Game Award-winning studio up in my native Canada.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this for sure. Yeah, that sound. I'm right with you, Leland. I'm like mesmerized by the music. Super evocative. This reminds me a little bit more of like Ghouls and Goblins. A little bit more like a sort of Castlevania style game. A little more Metroidvania than Celeste. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. Oh, that's a sick title. That's cool. That's cool. Earthblade. I'm down. I'll be playing that. That was a nice reveal. And you noticed, no BS, that was all gameplay. Props for that.
Seek the secrets of the ever-shifting sands. Spice. You do all of these things in my dream, Sleeper. I am terrified of what happens when you awaken.
Nah, can't say I'm interested. An open world survival MMO. Could they stuff any more keywords in there? They should have just put farm sim in parentheses at the end of that. I'll say too, like, you guys know I love platformers. Celeste isn't like my favorite. I don't love it in the way I love like Rayman Legends or Mario Brothers 3 or anything like that. But it was just so interesting and so unique and so genuinely challenging that I feel like I'm just sold on anything that comes from that creator.
People that resign themselves to their fate. Cowering in fear of its hunters. But now, because of you, they might just stand a chance.
Yeah, same for me, Peter. I read the original Dune, but didn't really stick with the series. I think Frank Herbert had some really interesting ideas. Like, no doubt, a really influential figure in sci-fi, speculative fiction, all that. But doesn't it feel like Forspoken's been teased for like 5 years? I guess it's finally coming out though. Which one wasn't a true premiere? Peter, was it the Dune game? Had that been previously announced? Yeah, I thought the same, Caveman. I don't think that Forspoken has ever looked great. Like they've never showed it in a very good light, I don't think. And it's kind of interesting after that whole debacle, that whole kind of debate that started, I think, after Ragnarok came out about like PlayStation protagonists talking too much to themselves. And I think it's a totally fair criticism. I think we were talking about that in the Discord, like games that do that well and games that don't. And that was one of the first things I noticed about it. You know, like the protagonist is running around and she's like remarking to herself about like her new magical powers as she's casting spells. And I don't know, I just thought it seemed kind of cringy, kind of lame. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Grubhub meets PUBG Mobile. Not just PUBG, but PUBG Mobile. Office parkour scene. I haven't watched The Office in like probably like 10 years, but that's that intro. The cold opens of The Office are so great. Yeah, is it like Andy? Is it either like Dwight or Andy? I think they jump and they just go like through a box and just vanish inside of cardboard. I think my favorite Office cold open is, I mean, because there's so many good ones, right? Like most people reference like Kevin's Chili, or I mean, again, so many. Like the fake fire drill that Dwight starts. I think my favorite though, it's one of the more unhinged ones. It's like when Andy's pretty new to the office, and somehow like everybody's joking around, and Andy's just that guy who takes it too far. And by the end of the meeting, he's like talking about killing somebody with a chainsaw and making chainsaw noises. I always love that. Like the one person who just takes it too far, that's Andy. But yeah, kicking the painting off the wall. Oh my god.
Impact now in the middle of its third year and a double nominee tonight and a sneak peek at Yao Yao, an upcoming character to join its growing roster. Next is something truly, truly special. Tonight, all of us together get to experience the global announcement of the next game from one of our industry's most visionary game studios. Get ready. Please enjoy.
Okay. Okay, Jeff. Okay. Okay, Kojima. It's Kojima's next game. Powered by Decima. Do we know if that's an engine? Is that like a proprietary engine? I mean, I don't know that this is entirely a fair comparison. It's hard to make comparisons like this. But I do feel like Kojima is like a bit of a David Lynch figure, you know, in the video game space. Like, whether you're into the games he makes or not, whether you play them and enjoy them or not, there's no doubt this guy has a unique artistic vision. He's a pioneer with the medium. And he has been for, I mean, gosh, how many years now? 30 plus years. And he's an auteur. He's a video game auteur. I mean, you can tell like how stylized this is, right? The music, the motorcycle, like, yeah, the mud, the lighting, and weird baby stuff because it's Kojima. Yeah, this definitely looks like a Stranding too. Yep. Psych, Dark Souls 2, the Kojima cut. I mean, yeah, and like his dedication to getting the granular details of motion capture just right, and yeah, I mean, I don't really play Kojima's games, but I appreciate what he does from a distance. Like, he's a true artist. I think the industry would be better if there were more Kojimas, you know? Like there's not enough people like him. Have we discussed how Sonic is the next Strand game? Can you imagine if Dark Souls 2 had some kind of presence in this show tonight? I know that there were those Dark Souls 2 remake rumors, which I feel like that is the biggest moonshot ever, you know, as far as From Software rumors go. Like, just a total non sequitur to like vanilla DS2. Tanimura comes in, the parachute. Well, and like clearly Keighley and Kojima have a bit of a relationship. Like Jeff's a total fanboy. He's kind of in awe of Kojima, and Kojima seems to trust Jeff. He likes to give him exclusives. And yeah, the dude's a legend. There's no denying it.
3 years you're on this stage with us in 2019, where you won Best Game Direction. DS2 has been announced.
Scholar of the Second Sin. The translator's like, Mr. Kojima wants you to know, this is actually Dark Souls 2. My specificity cannot go beyond the fact that this is indeed Dark Souls 2. Miyazaki pulls up on stage next to him in a little Bloodborne cart, just waving, drives away.
Troy is here as well. We heard him there. Hello, Troy. We're so excited about this collaboration you have with an amazing cast.
With the collaboration with Mr. Miyazaki right out here in the crowd. Are people going to get confused about DS2 and DS2? We all know what DS2 is. But yes, it's going to get confusing quickly.
After experiencing the pandemic, I just rewrote the whole thing.
I forget. It was probably a year ago. I got a YouTube comment from somebody, and they weren't even trolling. They were like dead serious. They were like, why do people abbreviate DS1, DS2, DS3 when they're the same number of syllables as the full titles? And I was like, you know what? That's a fair point. Oh, Jeff's such a fanboy. He just loves Kojima. Yep, them weird shoes. I mean, I'm a sneakerhead. I wear sneakers all the time. I love sneakers. I collect shoes, but like...
Well, yes, I'm doing the DS2 right now, and also one other...
Oh, just hearing DS2? I'm doing DS2 right now. I mean, Kojima said it. It must be real. It's like, yeah, I've played DS2. Well, right. It takes less time to type. It's an abbreviation. It's a community thing, too. I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years.
We're proud to announce a new game and a new world for a new AAA independent studio, Ascendant Studios. A team with experience making stories.
AAA independent studio.
Dead Space, Halo, and BioShock. They partnered with EA Originals, label behind last year's Game of the Year winner, It Takes Two, to create a single-player magic shooter set within a new original world. Here is your first glimpse. I
love the Originals styling. Like, you just take anything and put originals after. Like, even Ubisoft started doing that, where now their games are a Ubisoft original. And now we have EA originals.
The Immortals are more than soldiers. We're the champion protectors of Lucy. Hero of Elysian Fields. Hero of Elysian Fields. You don't get it, do you? Oh, you're always angry. All of Avium is crumbling apart. You don't win in ever war. You help us win this. I'll know you're ready.
Yeah, I wonder what Miyazaki... Did anybody catch when they very briefly, I think, showed him at the beginning? Is Katao there with him? Are they just chilling? I loved at the 2019 show, whenever they'd cut to him, they just... they were like the punk kids or something in the back of the classroom, just like talking smack. Like misfits, out of place. Okay, you saw it, Leland, you saw Katao, he's there with him. Wouldn't you just love to be, like, I was going to say a fly on the wall, but maybe you're a fly on the wall and you have a translator fly next to you and you get to hear their conversations.
Narrative in games is a slippery thing because there's no single way to tell a story. The beginning, middle, and end.
I also bet, though, Miyazaki is, like, grateful for being here. Like, he is genuinely super humble, I bet. Like, he thinks it's a privilege to be here. He's probably glad to have, like, taken time out of his schedule to, like, fly here and do this. And, like, when they asked him, I forget which of the many interviews it was, late last year, early this year. I mean, like, what other games are you into? Like, what have you been playing? And he was like, oh, It Takes Two is really interesting. Like, I mean, you remember, like, he's this game director, and he's just, like, a consumer of art and media, and Katao's swagged out. Yeah, he's so cool. Yeah, I do think this is the first Elden Ring nomination, Caveman. Wouldn't that be so sick if it won Best Narrative?
Game Award for Best Narrative goes to God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, that would have been such a slap in the face to the rest of the industry. Yeah, I mean, and I get it. Like, Ragnarok is a story-driven game. It's about the story. It's about the characters. And that's not to say Elden Ring isn't, but, right, on paper, layman's terms, like, Elden Ring's more of this gameplay thing. It's sparse, it's old school, it's arcadey, it's gameplay. And, like, yeah, God of War is an action game, too. I mean, sure, it's defined by its gameplay, but it's more of a traditional story game, so this makes sense. When you say movie games, Caveman, do you mean like that kind of like pejorative, like interactive movie games, like how that gets a bad rap? You mean like it's an interactive movie style game, but it's pioneering? I honestly don't know anything about it. I'm just giving it a quick Google right now. Yeah, it came out at the end of August. It's an interactive film video game by Half Mermaid Productions. Sam Barlow. Has a Silent Hill on his resume. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely not my thing. This isn't how I engage with video games, but I mean, yeah, it sounds different. Yeah, and I think, like, all the shout-outs for Corey, and I know, like, people love Corey, and that picture with Miyazaki, that picture of him, visiting Miyazaki, that's gotten him, like, a lot of credit, I think, in the industry. He likes to share that around, but I will always hold it against him that he was vocally on Twitter. You remember about, what was that, a year and a half ago, advocating for games to have, baby modes, to have easy modes, and that he felt that, as an artist, as a game director, that shouldn't be part of, like, your purview. Like, you don't get to decide, I'm going to make a challenging game or I'm going to make an easy game. That he thinks every game needs to be super approachable and beatable by every player from every walk of life. And like, I don't know, that's a slippery slope. It's also a boring topic at this point, in my opinion. Like we've hashed through all of that. But yeah, that's always bothered me a little bit. Like, I don't know.
This legendary fighting franchise.
So is this Tekken 8? He had said fighting franchise? Yeah, isn't that the funny thing, Peter? Because then if you, like, that's another criticism from another group of gamers, is that if you do like gameplay-focused games with more sparse or subtle or abstract storytelling, like more ambiguous backstories or worlds or whatever, yeah, I mean, I've been called a baby gamer. You know, because I don't want to talk to NPCs and stuff. That makes me a baby gamer who doesn't have the patience to play real games. So, yeah, I mean, you can't win, right? I mean, video games is like politics at this point. But, yeah, whatever. If you know, you know. That's the way I look at it. No use in arguing with people who have some kind of agenda. Yeah, this looks like Tekken to me. I'm assuming Tekken is multi-plat at this point, right? Like Tekken's probably just out on everything.
Now it's time to recognize more awards and winners. Here are the nominees for Best Art Direction.
Ooh, come on, Elden Ring. Best art direction. It's gotta be. It's gotta be. But you gotta remember, game journalists vote on these awards. Yes! Hey!
After the Fall, Among Us VR, Bone Lab, Moss Book 2, and Red Matter 2. And the Game Award goes...
Wait, did they just sprint into Best VR? Did they not even let that breathe for a minute? Oh my god, they're rapid firing these. They'll be what? Katao on stage.
Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Total War Warhammer,
Oh, what a bummer.
Campus, and Victoria.
And see, and this is where I will call BS, right? And you see how much breathing room they've given Ragnarok so far, right? And that's the influence of the media outlets and the publishers and these companies who literally put this show on, right? You can look, I mean, they are transparent about it. You look into who votes on these awards, who brings up like their, or who makes up their consulting committee. And yeah, it's probably people who don't have the time of day for Elden Ring, but you know, they like Ragnarok. Yeah, that's a bummer though. Yeah, I agree. No matter what your preference is or who you'd pull for, art direction is so integral to video games. That's a bummer they blew through that. That really is. But, you know, the money talks, right? And the people bankrolling this show, they said, nah, we're rolling through that one. That's a win, though. They might have blown through it, but that is a sick win for Elden Ring. I mean, think back on it. Bloodborne didn't win that award. Dark Souls 3 didn't win that award. Sekiro didn't win that award, right? All these great FromSoft games have never won that award. I mean, that is sick that Elden Ring won Best Art Direction. That even if you think award shows, particularly this one, are scams and they're hacky advertising corporate enterprises, which, I mean, they really are. Like, objectively, they are. But that's still a win, as far as I see it. That's still just a little slap in the face to the EAs and the Activisions and, you know, even the bigwigs at Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft. Like, that's a cool win. That's really cool. Yeah, I absolutely. A W is a W, right? Oh, totally. It's all about the art direction. Like, Bloodborne is Bloodborne, not just because of the gameplay, not just because of the music, but the color palette, right? The shadows, the lighting, the aesthetics, the materials in, you know, the clothing items and, you know, the silhouettes of the weapons. And yeah, it's art direction, man. They always have been that way. In Elden Ring, when you step out into Limgrave for the first time, Yeah, right, exactly. It's inseparable. It is, I mean, they are one of the few studios, in my opinion, who clearly value art direction as much as they value, you know, other ingredients. I mean, art direction is often an afterthought, or it's just about the sheer fidelity, right? It's like, this is 60 FP, or it's a, you know, 4K, 30 FPS. There's ray tracing, there's this and that. It's like, yeah, but what about personality, right? Like, I'll play Bloodborne in 1080p all day long because of the art direction, and I'll ignore, you know, maybe a game like Forspoken that can probably run in 4K and like technically is gorgeous, right? Technically is visually impressive, but a game like that just doesn't have the same flair or the same flavor, the same color, the same personality that a game like Bloodborne or Dark Souls 3 has, or you know, and they've just been getting weirder and weirder with art direction. I mean, even think about some of the places you go in Dark Souls 3 versus like Dark Souls 1 and like some of the colors they use, and like it's yeah, and then Sekiro, right? And like and then Elden Ring, everything they just ratcheted it up to 11. Oh no, I'm with you, kid, man. That first teaser, the hammer clanking on the anvil, yeah, it was insane. I mean, after like that run of Dark Souls 3 Bloodborne, or rather Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3 Sekiro, like it just, they were finally breaking through to the mainstream a little bit. They were finally getting some credit with, you know, enterprises like the Game Awards, and to see that trailer and just not have any idea. Do you recall the first Sekiro trailer too, where I think it was just the arm, and it was like, what is this? As soon as it said From Software, right? I mean, that's like the one name I can see. Like, I will admit, Team Ninja's getting there for me too. Like, if I see Team Ninja Flash on a black card, I almost get goosebumps. But From Software, totally. Or if I see Mario, like, I am a sucker. Like, if I see Mario animated in anything, I kind of get chills. And I was always that way with Zelda too, but obviously this rollout for Tears of the Kingdom has been pretty weird and pretty slow going. So I feel like it's been hard to keep that excitement level high, even if you're a lifelong Zelda fan. But yeah, I mean, can you imagine like anything tonight? I mean, just anything. A teaser for a new game, a preview of Elden Ring DLC. I mean, just anything. And I don't know. I mean, just because Miyazaki's here doesn't mean it's going to happen. They attended the 2019 show, and I think it was because of the seriousness of Sekiro being nominated for Game of the Year. And I don't believe, no, FromSoft didn't announce anything at the Game Awards in 19. Or was that the Elden Ring trailer? I gotta look back. No, that was E3. E3 2019 was that first Elden Ring trailer. Vaping the video game. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm like zoning out to these ads here.
From tonight until the end of December, you get an exclusive chance for 10% off of the Samsung 990 Pro SSD at samsung.com/US to enhance your gaming experience.
10% off is not thrilling. Like, you gotta at least do 15, you know? 15%.
Presenters are absolute legends.
Are they?
The very first Game Awards, where we honored them with our first Industry Icon Award. They founded Sierra Online. They brought us Half-Life, King's Quest, and hundreds of other titles. And this show, my career in gaming, would not exist without them. Their latest game, they're back making games.
So this what is it? Ken Williams? Is that who this is?
Everyone, please join me in welcoming to the Game Awards Ken and Roberta Williams.
Nobody here knows who Ken Williams is. Everybody in the audience is like, huh? Is this guy an influencer? Who is this? Is this guy on Twitch?
Honored to be back here to present the award for Games for Impact, which recognizes games that change the way people think and feel about the world. Here are the nominees.
Games for Impact.
Elden Ring changed the way I feel about the world. A Memoir Blue. As Dusk Falls. These are really dramatic names. Extinction is forever. Oh my god, this is a depressing reel. I was a teenage exocolonist? What is this?
Award for Games for Impact goes to As Dusk Falls.
As Dusk Falls. Depressing games for depressing times. I mean, it's the truth. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I mean, you know, all due respect, like, maybe these games have some incredible messages and, you know, they could be artistically impressive. I mean, these don't really seem like my kind of games, but yeah, deep and emotional. Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Isn't it odd though that like this gets, but again, I guess it's the money thing, right? But this gets time and art direction doesn't. I just, in my mind, that's odd. But you know, big moment for this woman in this game, and
was like 8 years in the making. We really hoped to create, an experience that was unique, narrative.
hopefully they don't give her the music here in like 5 seconds. I feel like, you know, if you're gonna let somebody get up here, like let them talk.
And super inclusive and approachable. And so the story.
But see, to me, and this is what's interesting, like she even said like they wanted to make a very approachable and inclusive experience. And I think that's cool. Like there are clearly studios endeavoring to create experiences like that. And I actually think for that exact reason is why criticizing From Software for not putting difficulty sliders in their games, it's just not a valid argument. Because there are more accessible games in the industry than ever before, and there's more approachable games than ever before. And access to games is really better than ever before, you know, shy of some aging classics that are just becoming somewhat lost to time because they haven't been well preserved. But for the most part, games are, yeah, you know where I'm going with this. It's just,
Microsoft for their amazing support and partnership.
there are so many people going out of their way to create accessible and approachable games that I just don't relate to the argument against, you know, a group of artists who are not. Like, that's just a choice. It's a strange thing.
Skate 3 is the next big RPG from Larian Studios, the creators of Divinity, Original Sin, and now the team at Larian is ready to share just when you're going to be able to join the party.
Join the party. Is this a party we want to join?
Tell me, why have you come here?
I like parties. I'm down, potentially. Oh my god, if Housemarque drops something. Yeah, I have a hunch that Returnal PC plug is probably all we're getting. Oh, that would be amazing. I mean, you know them now being formally owned by Sony. And Sony was even really forthright. Like, back when Returnal had sold, I think, like 600,000 copies, which I'm guessing those numbers are they've jumped a lot since then. The Sony executives were like, this is a huge success, because I'm sure they're measuring everything relatively. Oh my god, that was a mimic. That was a mimic ripped out of Dark Souls. Cease and desist letters now from the From Software lawyers. But yeah, like the Sony executives, they saw, 600,000 sales for Returnal, and, however they had benchmarked or forecasted optimistically its success, it had clearly surpassed whatever expectations they had for it. So in their mind, Returnal was a huge success, and yeah, they're willing to bankroll Housemarque and Harry Kruger and his team to do more. And that's so cool. I mean, they're working on something. They're going to have a bigger budget. They're probably going to be able to tap into additional resources at Sony. I mean, I don't, like Sony's changed a lot. Sony Studios, like it's not what it used to be. But I mean, anybody who's worked at a company or an agency or something, like, how that goes. Like, sometimes you freelance certain jobs. And I bet Housemarque is just going to be able to, like, whatever they turn out is going to be even more impressive than Returnal. I don't know if it'll be a better game, but
I almost feel sorry for them.
yeah, no, Baldur's Gate goes back to the 90s, right? Because it's based on Dungeons and Dragons. Like it's set in the Forgotten Realms, I think. Yeah, that actually they could have very well had the mimics first. I actually have no idea.
Expertise on our new game, which is a character-based online action RPG set in a brand new fantasy world, and we're super excited.
Yeah, I have no idea either, Peter.
Another partner has come on board.
I'd be down for pretty much anything. I think like they won me over so much with Returnal. I don't care what they do. I will at least play it. But they nailed that fast-paced third-person gameplay so well, and like the hunting for loot and the weapon switching and everything. It feels like it'd be a shame to not see more of that. Even if it's not Returnal, could it be even like a spiritual successor? Yeah, Peter, honestly, I've been savoring it. Like I've fortunately or unfortunately, like all good stuff, but I've just had such a busy second half of my year. It's been crazy. Like I've probably had the most limited time for gaming I've had in a couple years. And I have a couple games like that, like a couple really precious games in my backlog right now that I just uh-oh. First, see that's the Nintendo magic, right? No matter how scummy they get, when you hear that Switch snap, you know you're at attention. But yeah, I'm like cherishing it. I've actually booted up. Funny enough, I've like played a little bit of Returnal since the DLC dropped, but I have not delved into the DLC. Like I've seen the structure in the distance, and I've ran through some rooms and stuff, kind of just warming back up a little bit. But yeah, I can't wait. And I've been thinking about maybe let's playing it like I did with portions of the main game too. But yeah, it's a really strange thing. Like I'm cherishing it. I think because I can't believe it exists and I don't want it to be over. So yeah, man, I don't know what it is. I've heard that from other people too. Yeah, like since summer, like early summer pretty much, late spring, early summer, like now to like the holiday season, it's just been crazy for so many people. A lot of stuff going on. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like life, you know, somewhat normalizing, like the pandemic cooling off and
Yes, and I'm so excited. I'm sorry about my voice. It's so fucked up. I sang karaoke last night. I mean, yes.
oh.
It'll be perfect in the virtual
Yes.
concert, though, right?
But tonight it will be very good, of course. Yes.
Oh, she is groovy. Maybe Al gave her a well drink in the back.
I'm so excited about it.
She's funny. I can't really figure out her vibe.
Children of light and Genova is just the best kind of people, and it feels like this project is so full of love and light and understanding of the outsiders in the world and finding a way to make us feel home and connected. It's very.
I have no idea what she's talking about, but it all sounds great. Can't argue with anything she just said. Sounds wonderful. I have no idea what we're talking about.
relationships. I wouldn't peg you as someone that would go into the virtual concert space, but this is very special.
Virtual concerts, okay.
Yeah, I mean, historically, we always want to push the boundary of how
Yeah, no, I hear you, Sean. Yeah, it's so interesting. That's been a theme. It's been like a pattern. So many people that I know, and even friends and relatives, and yeah, it's been a busy year for everybody for different reasons. I no, I agree, Leland. I forget she had like an album a couple years ago. I was like mildly into. I mean, no doubt an incredible singer. Oh my god, she's 26. I feel like she's been around for like 10 years. I guess it was this first album, All My Demons Greeting Me as a Friend, 2016. It was like her debut album. I remember listening to a few songs on this and I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, maybe it was like this Runaway single. Yeah. Is this part of the metaverse? Probably. Who knows? After 18 months of experimentation, we have removed all semblance of a video game from this experience. Okay, free download. No, I mean, in all seriousness, it's cool. I like people. I like seeing people like innovate. But I'm probably never gonna check this out. Grubhub spending the ad dollars tonight on the Game Awards. Grubhub's like, yo, you gotta get into this gaming thing the kids are into.
Also be able to participate in PUBG Mobile and complete other challenges. Terms and conditions apply.
PUBG. Another PUBG name drop. Well, I have to say, it feels like we're getting into kind of the valley of the show here, yeah? Like, I think the show started pretty strong, like Hades 2, they gave Chris Judd his award. Miyazaki was on camera for about 2.5 seconds. Gonna order some Imagine, like, hitting up, like, Grubhub customer service and just being like, can I get some Fortnite? Yeah, I'm losing interest here. I feel like we need something to kind of bring us back, get this show back on track a little bit. Which, that's always the funny thing. I feel like every year Jeff is like, hey, less fluff this year. It's going to be a shorter show. And then inevitably, you get an hour or so in. And it's just like Grubhub ads and it's the 7th plug for Among Us and games that aren't really games, even if they're kind of interesting. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's the middle lull. Yeah, I just don't even know what's happening here. Like, not sure. We're inspiring and motivating people. That's good. Giving voice to people who don't have it. That's good too. Sure, Facebook gaming. Is Facebook gaming good? Is this Mick Gordon? Doom? Bootleg Doom performance? An anti-Doom performance? Is this Halsey? Okay. So is this the part of the show where, like, you forget that this is a video game show at all? I think it is. But see, that's why they did all the Grubhub plugs. They're like, yeah, this is halftime. Take a break. Go to the bathroom. If you have a Steam Deck, play some Elden Ring. When you get done, put in a Grubhub order. It should be a requirement before performing musically at the Game Awards that you have to play 3 hours minimum of Elden Ring. You are locked in a padded room with a CRT television in Elden Ring. Maybe she's the Diablo anime. Maybe we are in the metaverse right now. Maybe we're playing Diablo. Blizzard presents corporate abuse. Blizzard presents HR violations. Blizzard presents abusive executives going to prison, the game. It's a weird trailer. Staring's making me uncomfortable. Uncomfortable staring, the game. Putting in a Grubhub order, the game. I will admit there's something about this lull in the show that makes me want to go crazy on Grubhub and order like some churros or something. Doesn't that sound good? Just like a quick churros order. There's something about the malaise of this part of the show that just makes me want to ingest fat and sugar. Udon, the game. Oh, the abusive executives definitely have an army. See, these are all attorneys. When you're actually playing the game, they'll have like little name boxes above them, identifying them as attorneys. That's what this is. That's the CEO of Activision Blizzard right there. Yeah, that's Bobby Kotick, in case you didn't know. He's good with a spear. He sent his employees to hell, and now he's still not leaving them alone. Diablo 4.
Wow, Diablo 4 and Halsey are
It's Al Pacino.
the launch more Diablo and Halsey next year, but wasn't that incredible? Thank you so much, Halsey. All right.
It was in fact not incredible, Jeff, and you know it wasn't.
In the category of best sports racing game, the nominees are
Elden Ring, Bloodborne Kart, Dark Souls 2 Kart,
Gran Turismo 7 and Ollie Ollie World.
Sekiro Turismo.
Gran Turismo 7. Congratulations. Here are your nominees for best multiplayer game. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Multiversus, Overwatch 2,
Yeah, Turismo getting a win's cool. It's interesting.
MNT Shredder's Revenge.
Oh, Splatoon, come on.
Award goes to Splatoon.
Yeah!
All right.
Splatoon getting a little love.
COD Modern Warfare 2, Elden Ring,
Oh, come on, Elden Ring.
Ragnarok,
Easy. Easy.
Horizon Forbidden West. And this game award goes to God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, God. See, this is... I will say, God of War has won enough tonight. You could feel it coming, right?
Carl Jacobs, Ludwig, Nibellia, Nobru, and QT Cinderella. And the game award goes to
Terapop.
Ludwig. Congratulations, man. Here are the nominees
Isn't it hilarious that, like, legitimately someone like Donkey should win that award, but never will because he says the things he says, and he's critical of the industry, and he just doesn't play nice. Most anticipated game, anything but Starfield. Anything but Starfield.
Maybe a fan favorite, but and the Game Award goes to The Legend of
Nice.
Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Sure.
Congratulations to all our winners so far, and now it's time for another world premiere.
Okay. We need something big here. We need something good. DLC? Yeah, I'd say Forbidden West DLC most likely. Because I think they already plugged the VR, right? The Mountain VR. Yeah. LA. For all you vacant-minded celebrities in the audience. Oh, that's pretty sick. That's pretty sick.
Burning Shores will see Aloy pursue a sinister threat in the untamed wilds of Los Angeles, and yes, even the Hollywood sign isn't spared. And now, please welcome the cast of The Last of Us show coming to HBO on January 15th.
Yeah, the CGI trailers are, yeah, it's endlessly boring.
Just real quick, I know that I told you guys this backstage, but just in front of everybody else, I want to let you know we've seen.
I'm sorry for plugging that NFT this summer. I'm real sorry about that.
Love you as Joel and Ellie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Big fans. Big fans.
So you know we are big fans of you two as well as Joel and Ellie.
So should we do this all together, just like Joel and Ellie, just one and all?
Let's do it.
Time? Okay.
Okay.
We're here to present the award for best.
Oh, Leland, I was making fun of Troy Baker, who, like, I don't know if you saw that. I think it was in the summer. It was like the last gasp of the NFT stuff, and he tried to push some NFT that he had partnered with a company to create, and he was just annihilated by the community. They're like, "Yeah, we don't want this stuff, man. Don't sell this to us." And I will say he actually retracted. Like he backpedaled and was like, "Hey, I hear you." Sort of half apologized, and I think that was the end of it. So. Yeah, I think I've talked about this quite a few times at this point, but yeah, I can't really say I'm interested in The Last of Us show. I bet it'll be insanely successful, though. It was kind of like what I was saying earlier about the adaptations. Like, I love the Naughty Dog games, but that doesn't inspire me to sit down and watch hours of a show and then just play that game of deciding, like, were they faithful or not faithful? Where did they deviate? Why did they deviate? It just doesn't interest me that much. I guess Bowser's here to kind of accept everything. Just send Reggie up. Yeah, I mean, Troy is one of the best voice actors in the history of the medium, right? Like, there's no denying it. I mean, he made Joel real for all of us. And a lot of other great characters in a lot of other games.
That worked tirelessly on bringing Bayonetta to life for the third time. Thank you so very
Yeah, Caveman, I've heard that. I've heard that Chernobyl is amazing. That it is totally worth a watch. I don't even doubt that it'll be like a competently made show. I bet it will be.
know this, but no one does action games and over-the-top action
amazing games like Platinum Games. And as you saw, they're already hard at work on their next project.
For which they'll pay their voice actors $10 each.
With our long history of creating action games, it's a huge honor to be awarded.
Oh, they're playing them off already. Like, Doug, we've had enough. They wouldn't play off Reggie.
To reveal a brand new title for the Game Awards today, we'd like to thank everyone who helped us bring the game to life, and of course, the fans of the series. With the characters just as important as the many players,
Yeah, what would my NFT be? I don't even know.
keep your eyes peeled for Cereza's next stories. From everyone at Platinum Games, thank you very much. Thank you.
My NFT would probably be me ordering churros from Grubhub while in one hand while playing Elden Ring on a Steam Deck in the other while sitting on the toilet.
Nintendo, and next we have a trio of exciting new game announcements. First, let's head to Japan for a special announcement.
From Software is based in Japan. Bandai Namco. Coming out of Japan, an exciting new game. Dark Souls 2. 2. Cart. Could you imagine From Software putting out a game and a From Software original? I think if you need to call the thing you're making an original, there's an inherent problem, right? You need to reassess several things about your business model.
Do you remember what our world
Oof, Amazon Games. Yeah, I saw that too, Peter, in the subtitles. Speaking Japanese written out, like, isn't racist, but it definitely reads that way. It reads bad. Man, I have to say, like, the lull's dragging for me a bit. This is a bit of a boring part of the show for me. It feels like even regardless of like the content itself, like the pacing feels off. It feels like they were moving a little bit more, in the first 30 minutes of the show, and now it's really slowed down. Even feels like some of the trailers are overstaying their welcome. I mean, at least this one's showing some gameplay. Gameplay, the game. 2. Cart. Yeah, right. Okay, man, I'm right there with you. Like, at this point, anything shy of Team Ninja, From Software, and like Nintendo EPD, right? Like, outside of those 3 developers, I don't think I'm going to get too excited about anything. Maybe Naughty Dog, like if they showed a brand new Naughty Dog single player game, but I don't foresee that. What have we here? Yeah, it looked, you know, decently polished. I mean, it was mostly gameplay, so that's cool. You could see a lot of Bloodborne influence just in that sort of sizzle reel of gameplay they were showing off. Let's get lucky. Imagine like a trailer for a From Software game. Some character just turns to the screen. Let's get lucky.
Coming up, Animal from the Muppets drops by, and Keegan-Michael Key shares a new look at the Super Mario Brothers movie. And still to come, the award for Best Game Direction. Stick around.
Yeah, Leland, isn't that such a trope? Isn't that such just like a trite cliche at this point? Like, imagine any song, like Tears for Fears, Everyone Wants to Rule the World. Like, guarantee next year there will be some empty, vacant video game, and it'll be a CGI trailer, and it'll be this slow, dramatic version of Everyone Wants to Rule the World. Like, ooh, how deep. Is this the metaverse again? Wage a war in the metaverse. Succumb to your violent tendencies virtually. Console edition. Is that a valid subtitle? We still saying things like that?
There is no victory to be had here. There is only survival. The strength of resolve.
I will say, on a positive note, I believe we are more than halfway through this show, and Skyrim has not been presented. There has not been a Skyrim announcement, trailer, re-release. But, again, there's probably like a third of the show left. Skyrim, the 11-year anniversary edition. Bloodborne open world would be terrible in my opinion. I feel like such a key part of Bloodborne is the like amazing level design. Like I think I talked about that in my level design video, but how like if you look at a top-down view of Central Yharnam, it almost looks like a classic Doom map, you know? Like it's just such good level. And that's the case for all From Software games. And like even with Elden Ring, they manage that balance where they give you the fields and the freedom and the exploration, but they're still funneling you toward those tightly designed legacy dungeons. So kind of hard to imagine FromSoft ever veering from that. Hey, what's up?
He's the voice of Toad in the upcoming Super Mario Brothers movie. Please welcome Keegan-Michael Key.
What's happening, Game Awards? It is so great that we can all be here.
Hey, Mateus, welcome in.
Celebrating tonight, right?
What was the first-person game with the sword and grappling hook called? Doom Eternal?
And something about Toad's head, you would be right. Because I see a lot of people online saying that it's a hat, and you know what? It's not a hat, it's a cap. You see, because the cap is that top part of the mushroom that houses the spores and everything, and also a cap is another word for hat. I see how that, okay, I just right now saw how that could be confusing. Wow. Well, okay, whether you call it a cap...
Al's been pretty liberal in passing around his well drinks this evening. Everybody in the back's having a good time.
Toad's awesomeness. So now please enjoy this clip of a few of our capped and hatted friends in a sneak preview of their super awesome journey.
I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but like, as curmudgeonly as I can be about the adaptations and stuff, I feel unable to resist seeing the Mario movie. And even if the byproduct is it's successful and that prompts Nintendo to release more Mario games than they have been, that's a good thing, in my mind. I mean, think if it weren't for Ubisoft Milan and Davide Soliani's team putting out Sparks of Hope, like how absent Mario would feel right now from Nintendo's lineup, you know? It's really strange, actually. Like, they're clearly struggling with what to do, and you'd think, like, Odyssey 2, right? Or what about Mario and Luigi? What about Mario versus Donkey Kong? Like, I don't know. It's Nintendo. Again, you cannot outguess this company. You can't figure out the logic. Oh, that wasn't much, was it? They're still clearly withholding, like, substantial Mario dialogue.
Yes, I like the energy. As you can see, I'm now joined by Animal from the upcoming
Pacino juice backstage. Yeah, I mean, Jack Black, like, what they showed of Bowser in that initial trailer, the scene with the penguins, it was so good. Danny DeVito as Wario. Will he shrink when hit by Bowser? I don't know. They'll probably have to address a number of the weird conventions. I mean, even that clip was about, you know, the pipes, but yeah, I was expecting a little more. Okay, Animal's talking about Melania right now. Now, Animal knows what's going on. The Muppets won Elden Ring. They totally should have done this next to Miyazaki. Like, have Animal on Miyazaki's shoulder.
But, all right, what if that didn't work out and so you had to make your own game? What would you call it?
Animal Crossing.
This is the most wholesome part of the entire show.
But anyways, Animal, it's great to have you here at the Game Awards. Should we maybe give out an award now? What do you think about that? Oh, yeah. Music!
Now, I'm with you, Peter. Like, they seem to be pushing Mario's, you know, like that slapstick, duncy, bumbly kind of idiot thing a little more than I expected. Again, like, Mario's usually a little more put together. Luigi's kind of the dunce. You know, Luigi's kind of the one down on his luck. Yeah, it's a little strange. It's a little strange. All right, here we go. Come on. I mean, it's Animal. It's got to be Elden Ring.
And the Game Award for Best Score and Music goes to God of War.
Oh, come on. Man, I think God of War's sweeping tonight. Like, with this kind of momentum, I've kind of had a feeling it was going to get Game of the Year, like, as much as, you know, I believe Elden Ring is the Game of the Year this year for sure. It's the biggest story in gaming this year. But yeah, it feels like Ragnarok's set up to take everything. Animal, like, crashing this speech is pretty funny.
But I really got to give a shout out to everybody at Santa Monica Studio. Corey.
Like, I will say the praise for Santa Monica is starting to wear like a little thin. It's getting a little annoying at this point in the show. Like we've heard enough. Like, right? We've heard it.
Thank you so much. All the musicians.
Think about how many unique pieces of music were composed for the Elden Ring soundtrack. Like, if you actually look at the breakdown of tracks, it's insane. The number of musicians or of the composers rather, like how dynamic the soundtrack is. I mean, the main theme is like an instant classic. It's incredible. Yeah, this is a drag. This is a disappointing one. I mean, again, this stuff doesn't really matter.
And if I only wrote that, I feel like the story would sort of be there. So
yeah, play this guy off. Play him off with the music he wrote.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, this does feel kind of like a Ragnarok love fest tonight. But I also remember in 2019, it did not feel like Sekiro really had much of a presence in the show. You know, and then that, I think now kind of famous frame of Katao and Miyazaki looking at each other like, what? Like, even they couldn't believe it. Because it didn't seem likely. So, and that could be the case again tonight. The way I see it is like, it doesn't, you know, disqualify or validate like gamers' taste really. It's just like Elden Ring will always sort of feel like that stepchild in the room, always kind of overlooked, always kind of underrated. From Software is just in a different position in the industry. They have different stature. They actually get criticism a lot of other studios and publishers don't get. So it just always feels like sort of a win for the little guy, which seems funny to say because Elden Ring sold, you know, what, 13, 14, 15 million copies or whatever at this point. Are they really the little guys anymore? And it's like, I don't know, when you look at this room and you look at who's on stage and you look at who's sponsoring an event like this, I would maintain FromSoft still feels like that long shot left field candidate. Hey, Vinny, welcome in. We're just hanging and watching the show. We're enjoying parts of the show. We're not enjoying parts of the show. You know. Like I said in Discord earlier, like, even if the Game Awards kind of stinks, even if it's kind of a flop, like, it's still sort of funny and entertaining given what it is. Like, just this advertising showcase. Even when it's bad, it's kind of good. Yeah, totally agreed, Vinny. Well said. Like, just FromSoft getting any kind of recognition, I think, is like it's a tally for the good guys, in my opinion. Like the good actors in the space, like the real artists. Yeah, hanging out with Al Pacino and Animal.
We are the defenders of mankind against the horrors that dwell in the darkness. While we draw breath, we stand.
Have they done direction yet, Peter? I could be wrong, but I think they still have to do game direction as well. Which I believe in, like, the past, usually that award swings in the direction of narrative and best performance. Like, usually those awards kind of correlate.
Nothing
Warhammer Space Marine. Yeah, I think we were thinking the same, Vinny. Like, God of War, I was not surprised about best performance and maybe even a couple other nods, but music felt strange. That it definitely felt deserved for Elden Ring. Yeah, you're a big Warhammer fan, right, Caveman? I remember you talking about Warhammer recently. You think Al Pacino's still around, or is he like back in his penthouse at the hotel? Like, or you think he's still in the back? You know, like his handlers are probably trying to get him out of the building, but like, you know, he's happy to be breathing. You're totally right, Caveman. I mean, that's what it is, right? Like, if a Santa Monica game and a FromSoft game are pitted against one another, the publishers and media representatives who make up the jury, they're always going to swing in the direction of a Santa Monica over From Software. They just are. Yeah, he did feel lich-like, didn't he? Yeah, Cheeto, I think everybody in this chat, that's what we all want to see before the show's over. So anything from Software, honestly. Elden Ring seems so conducive to having like the game itself and the world and the mechanics. It would make so much sense for there to be DLC. But if for some reason they chose not to in order to like move on to a new project, I do think finding out about that new project would kind of offset the disappointment of not getting DLC. I think just anything tonight from FromSoft. And then we would look back and be like, oh, the Coliseum thing was the appetizer. Oh, nope. Not much of a presence by Nintendo tonight, you know, and I feel like some years that's how it goes. Like they are just absent from the Game Awards. And I think some of the executives in Japan, you know, they feel like, hey, we showed off a clip of the Mario movie. That represents us. They're Nintendo. They don't have to advertise anything. But yeah, you'd always love to see like something from that EPD internal studio, right? Like Pikmin, you know, Zelda, Super Mario. Yeah, I mean they've been leaning that way for years, Vinny, Nintendo. They definitely like to control, you know, their messaging and their announcements, and yeah, they get a little skittish when it comes to outside events. Like they'll participate to a degree, but you know, they're Nintendo. Nintendo's got a Nintendo. Yeah, no, you're totally right, Caveman. Like E3 is, I mean, I think I did a podcast about that some months back, but like what even is E3 at this point? E3 doesn't really represent much. Like all the major publishers do their own events. E3 is not what it used to be, which that was kind of a cool era, right? Like 10, 15 years ago when E3 was this event and the publishers and developers really needed the apparatus of E3 to showcase their games, but so much has changed. Like they don't need to. How strange is this? They're like reminding people like, hey, this is based on the Netflix series. Like they're making it sound like the Netflix series created this game. Yeah, I've been feeling the same, Vinny. Like, Elden Ring, I think, was objectively the biggest gaming story of the year. Like, if you looked at a history book 20 years from now about this year in gaming, Elden Ring would be the headline. It would have to be, on paper, regardless of your personal preferences. But, yeah, despite that, there's just, I think there's more motivation from the industry and from media and from publishers to reward a game like Santa Monica. Like, FromSoft still lives in a vacuum. Like, oh, snap!
Careful with the fur. I'm a little sensitive. Thank you. What's up, Game Awards? Crash is in the building. Let's go! Get ready for an epic reveal in 3, 2,
Could this actually be something?
0. -1. -2. Guys, where's my crew? Hold on a second. What happened? We were supposed to meet up here and steal all the bumper fruit from the Game Awards, which I'm now realizing was a fruitless plan. Oh, excuse me, are you guys on mute? Oh, I get it. The old silent treatment. That's...
I mean, the fact that Crash has any presence at the Game Awards on the live stage, I don't know where this is going, but this wasn't on my bingo card. Is this Wumpa League? Yep. I mean, hey, I want Crash 5, like, but Crash just being, like, the IP being alive is a good thing. I know Activision is so gross, but, I mean, the IP being alive is... I'm just waiting to see Toys for Bob. I don't know that we've seen a Toys for Bob logo yet. Crash Team Rumble. Yep, Toys for Bob 2023. Crash Smash.
Please welcome two outstanding content creators and streamers. Here are Foosley and Valkyrie.
Continues to rapidly evolve every year. If there's one category that seems to advance the fastest and furthest, it's innovation and accessibility.
Each year, designers impress and inspire us by discovering new and thoughtful ways to enable an even larger audience to play their games through determined consideration for those who are often marginalized.
Here are the Game Awards nominees for innovation and accessibility.
Innovation and accessibility. It's a single-player and multiplayer experience.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, Cade, man. Like, Toys for Bob deserves better than working on, empty COD content. Like, let them do what they do best. I also like seeing that the Rumble game is very faithful to the Crash 4 art direction. Like, it's the same style, probably the same engine, like just some kind of cohesion, some kind of activity with the IP. It's a good thing in my book. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ragnarok is just sweeping the show. But again, 2019, Sekiro only won one award, I believe, and it was Game of the Year.
We are absolutely humbled and grateful to everyone who's helped us in this journey along the way.
I also find it interesting how they've completely skipped over some categories, but they're allowing all the Santa Monica people to talk. Have you noticed that? Like, that's where I think you can really sense some of the conflict of interest, in the Game Awards. And that's probably Sony, right? Like, Sony helps finance this show, and there are people with ties to Sony voting, consulting with Keighley. I hate this expression, but it is what it is. Like,
the UI UX team and everyone who made it possible. I can't thank you enough, and and I think that the players themselves are the ones that are going to benefit the most. This is a race that no matter who wins, the player is the real winner. So let's go out there and make all games have no limits. Thank you.
Yeah, that's also a good point, Vinny. Like, yeah, right. In 2018, Red Dead kind of won the smaller awards, but then Game of the Year went to God of War. So that happens a lot.
Holy warriors, giver of life and light.
So, okay, man, you're saying you would be pulling for Ragnarok, except Miyazaki's in the house, Elden Ring's on the table. Yeah, and I think, right, in any other year, Ragnarok probably would just win. Yeah, I played just a little bit of the first Lords of the Fallen. Wasn't feeling it. Didn't like the feel of the game. What I've seen of the second one has looked a lot. It's looked improved. It's looked a little more inspired, a little more polish. But I've not really been following along with what they've showcased so far. I know there have been some trailers, maybe some details. Okay, so this is just the second trailer. It's looking dark and gritty, kind of Mortal Shell-ish. Oh, a reboot, not a sequel. Is that the case? Yeah, I wouldn't know.
And now, from 505 Games, a new organized crime game, Crime Boss Rockay City. Please welcome Kirby Joe Grubb, Damien Poitier, and the boss himself, Mr. Michael Madsen.
Hello, Game Awards. We are here to set a slightly different tone for the trailer you're about to watch.
You see, this trailer here, well, it's a little different than the rest of these trailers you're seeing tonight. This one's a little bit dangerous.
505, what, they publish like Sniper Lead, and I think they publish Dead by Daylight, Control, like they publish a lot of big games.
What a crowd.
I'm confused. Like, are these guys supposed to look like they're from Reservoir Dogs because it's Michael Madsen? Also, why is he here?
Wild times. I've been involved in some crazy things in my life.
I've done fentanyl in my life.
Picture with Mr. Al Pacino.
I've used crack cocaine from time to time in my life.
If you haven't seen it, you should look it up, goddammit. So, anyway, I have to say.
Yeah, this is at risk of seriously going off the rails. Keely's like tapping his earpiece right now. He's like, hey.
We've got an amazing cast with us. These two handsome guys with me.
Oh, this is weird. This is awkward.
Enjoy the debut trailer for
The Monster Inc. Secretary. That's a deep cut caveman.
2023, so let's roll it.
I really think the walk-off music should be the kazoo music from Yoshi's New Island. Crime Boss. Oh boy. Well, starring Michael Madsen. Kim Basinger. What is this? Damien Poitier? This is Danny Trejo. This is like Member Berries. Oh, they dropped Pure Cash, all right. Vanilla Ice. Can we move on, please?
That's right, Chuck Norris. All right, and now we're
Oh my God.
awards based on votes from engineering and fans around the world. Here are the nominees for best role-playing game:
Elden Ring.
Live Alive,
Come on.
Pokemon Legends Arceus, Triangle Strategy,
Yeah, that was a thing that happened.
and the Game Award
Come on.
goes to Elden Ring. Congratulations to Fly and Night Echo. Here are the nominees for
And they're steamrolling through it because they're not going to let... I mean, even let some corporate stiff from Bandai get up on the stage, you know? Like, it feels like there's an agenda here.
Genshin Impact,
Oh, it's Genshin. It's Genshin or Sonic.
Ragnarok, and Stray. And once we took out
The last returns were crazy.
award goes to Genshin Impact.
Oh, I think there's some boos in the house. That didn't sound like all applause.
Cult of the Lamb, Neon White,
I think Sifu, that would be cool if Sifu won this one.
Tunic, and the Game Award goes to Stray. Congratulations, double winner tonight.
Huh.
Here are the nominees for Best Action Adventure Game: A Plague Tale Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Stray.
Isn't that an interesting distinction, though? Like, even though I don't think the Game Award categories are, like, as nuanced as they should be, Elden Ring doesn't go in the action-adventure category. It's an RPG. You know, and then you see Forbidden West and Ragnarok, and that's not to knock those games. They're just very, very different. And because of that line in the sand, they are more approachable games. And it is interesting to see Forbidden West, though, has been very underrepresented, too. Really, like, no interest in Forbidden West tonight. And I don't know, I'd have to look back, but it felt like, critically, Zero Dawn was received better. Even though I know most reviews for Forbidden West were very positive. It does feel like Forbidden West kind of came and went, you know? And it had that misfortune of coming out a few weeks before Elden Ring, but Zero Dawn came out before Breath of the Wild, and I just felt like Zero Dawn had maybe a little more staying power. I don't know. Peter, you're saying him as in Keeley. NPR did an interview with Keeley, and he was just dodgy and public relations-y pretty much.
Up next, Reggie is in the building and his body is ready. Plus, Naoki Yoshida takes the stage, and the Game Awards Orchestra honors the nominees for Game of the Year.
No, I don't disagree with you, Vinny. I've been pretty critical of Keeley and this event in the past. But all things considered, I believe deep down he probably does want Elden Ring to win. He thinks it would be a good thing for the industry. But at the same time, he's got a lot of corporate overlords himself. He's indebted, literally, through the show to a lot of, financially powerful stakeholders. So, yeah, maybe deep down, Jeff thinks it'd be a good thing or a cool thing if Elden Ring won, just like he thought it was cool that Sekiro won. But is it coincidental that games like Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 didn't win, and then the one kind of off from soft game published by Activision in the West is the one that wins Game of the Year, right? That's not a coincidence. Like, Activision is the difference there. So, I mean, I'll be surprised if it wins, but it'll be so cool. It'll be so cool and so validating for Miyazaki and his team. But, I mean, you saw that latest quote from him about the sales, right? Like, I don't know if IGN was just reporting on it or if someone at IGN passed the question on to him about, like, can you explain the sales? Why Elden Ring exploded in a way the previous games haven't? And he was just like, no. And it's not false modesty either. He's just like, no. I don't know what's different. Like, this was the next game we wanted to make. We made it, and it sold better than the others. I have nothing to say about it. Like, I'm glad it did well, but I can't tell you why. Jeff just seems very owned at this time compared to when he first popped in the scene. I agree completely, Peter. No, like, you remember last year, like, I really turned on him with Returnal having no presence at the show. And that's because it was a game from a lesser known studio. It didn't sell super well. Again, we're talking fewer than 1 million copies. Not a lot of people played it. And there was just no motivation, to give it more of a platform at the show. And it was so snubbed. It wasn't even nominated for Game of the Year. I mean, it was criminal. Yeah, he is. He's literally owned. Like, none of this could happen without his corporate sponsors. And he knows that. It's not like he's all that secretive about it. You can go right to the Game Awards website and you can look at who's on their committee, who the jury's made up of. And it's, in I think most of our cases, us being gamers, they're the same corporate stiffs at these publishing companies and these kind of imposter game journalists who are annoying us, whose quotes we see on social media and we cringe. Those are the people helping to decide shows like this. So yeah, we can't ever really be surprised if a team like Team Ninja from Software. I mean, keep in mind, Team Ninja, like Neo, was never well represented at these shows either. So Reggie in the house, body's ready. Hey, remember me? Remember the Wii U?
I'm here to present the best game direction.
I am here to present Dark Souls 2.
It's a particularly exciting award, especially in our industry.
I miss Reggie. That was a weird time for Nintendo, but the Iwata Reggie era of Nintendo, I don't know, man. I miss those days already.
And to be nominated, you need to have created an experience that is incredibly special to the players. To the teams represented behind these titles, you have my utmost respect.
Oh yeah, no worries, Sean. Bounce if you have to. Yeah, we'll keep you posted. Come on. Ragnarok's gotten its flowers. Who else in this industry could envision an experience like Elden Ring, other than Hidetaka Miyazaki and the FromSoft team? Reward them for this. Whether we like it or not, this is a huge platform, and it's less for us, and in my mind, it's like more for them. Like, validate their work.
And the Game Award for Best Game Direction goes to Elden Ring.
Yes! The god himself. Oh, yeah, taking the stage. Finally, get that man on the stage. Oh, this is great. See, I mean, this is what it's about. Just get this guy on stage. Oh, I'm liking Katao's kicks. Oh, this is so cool. He's so awkward.
It's a great pleasure receiving such a wonderful award.
Oh, wait, that's not Katao.
As a director, I'm very honored about that.
If they play music, we riot.
Elden Ring is our, the biggest game that we have ever worked on. So we have worked with several co-directors, including Mr. Tanimura and Mr. Ishizaki. Without their support,
Is Tanimura getting a name drop?
it would be almost impossible to, finish working on this project. So we really want to share this great joy of receiving this award with them.
Always the selfless gentleman. He doesn't want any attention.
So once again, thank you so much for your support.
A man of few words as usual. That's awesome. Because again, it's like a crime to have an event like this and not allow that man to stand on the stage, It's as simple as that. Who cares who wins what? That guy should be on stage getting a round of applause. That's all it's about. Ooh. Phantom Liberty? Oh, I'm pumped. I don't care if it's in vogue or not. I love me some cyberpunk.
there's anyone we can trust now, it's him.
Solomon Reed, FIA.
So, what do we do now?
Dogtown. Burn it to the ground is what we'll do. It's a simple choice.
Pretty good trailer so far. I have to say, this is a pretty good trailer. It feels paced well. It feels more like a movie trailer.
These come to the price. Someone's always got to pay.
Idris Elba? Did I see that right? That looked like the likeness. Yep. Oh, that's cool.
Agent Solomon Reed in Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. Can't wait for you guys to meet Reed when Phantom Liberty releases in 2023. See you in Night City.
Cool.
Thanks, Idris. Tonight, we are thrilled to share with you another global game announcement. This comes from one of the most decorated developers in the world. Pushes this medium forward for each of its releases. This studio has been nominated multiple times.
Naughty Dog, From Soft. I mean, it could only be a handful of studios, given what he's saying. Oh, Jeff is like choked up over this. Yeah, Rockstar. That's a decent point. Oh, what is it? Armored Core? This has got to be Armored Core. Oh, this has got to be Armored Core. Or as Soup calls it, the robot game. The robot game. The game. Oh, come on. My legs are bouncing here. I can't sit still. What are we looking at? That, like, font looks familiar. Oh, this has got to be Armored Core. Oh, the sound design in this trailer. Like, what am I listening to here? Oh my god, this is sick. Like that kind of grayscale, like washed out, metallic. Yeah, I mean, this even feels very, very faithful to classic Armored Core. The aesthetic. Oh, wow. Fires of Rubicon. We're obviously all going to be playing this. Damn, 2023. And multi-plat, it looked like. I didn't see Switch there, but Xbox and PlayStation. Yeah, Wo Long and Armored Core next year. Yeah, again, apologies for, not quite getting the sound right tonight. But, yeah, definitely go back and rewatch that a couple times. The sound, it was almost more of like a soundscape than it was music. It was amazing. Yeah, it was. You knew when they showed Bandai and then they didn't reveal the studio. It's like, come on. Who else? Also, Grubhub. Grubhub. I'm going to be honest. I'm probably going to order Grubhub when this is over. Grubhub Udon? Man, that is so cool. I'm kind of speechless. I mean, we had strong suspicions. I mean, I obviously did a video about that earlier in the year. Like, a lot of evidence to suggest, even through like job postings and stuff, the kind of artists they were looking for, that they were likely reviving Armored Core. And I think even based on Miyazaki's comments, there's a very good possibility he's not directing this game, right? He probably supervised it, but I suspect based on some of his recent comments, he might not be at the helm of this game. But that, am I always going to be most interested to play his projects? Of course, but FromSoft is FromSoft at this point, right? Like, and I think it's cool that the studio is growing and more successful, and it's actually maybe a little strange at this point. We've only had in the Miyazaki era DS2, where he was not at the helm and he was, just sort of consulting in the background. So yeah, I think I've certainly talked about this in podcasts, newsletters, YouTube videos, but I'd love to see more come out of FromSoft. And like, yeah, the Miyazaki directed game is always going to be that special thing, but I don't necessarily feel less excited, and we've gotten such a consistent stream of these third-person action games that they're just the masters of for so many years now. I mean, think about how prolific they've been, over the last decade plus. So to shake it up and revive, one of their aging, sort of neglected IPs, I think it's super cool. And I'm sure it was a strategic decision. Like, they know Armored Core is in a position to sell better in the West now, whereas some years ago it wouldn't have. Largely thanks to Elden Ring's success. Like, Armored Core will sell. It won't sell like Elden Ring, but it'll have an audience, for sure. And oh man, can you imagine like next gen Armored Core, not just like single player, but it makes you start wondering about what kind of like online multiplayer something like Armored Core could have. Yeah, initial Red Wispy stuff being the rot. Yeah, definitely reminiscent.
Next year, and now we welcome one of the busiest men in gaming, known fondly by his fans as Yoshi P.
Yeah, Vinny, I'm with you too. That's the way I see it. Like, From Software has built up so much trust with me. I'm interested in anything they do. Anything they put out, I would play, and I trust that it would be a good, not just good, but a great gaming experience. Yeah, no, I'm with you, Peter. Like, right, the switch up. Elden Ring's here. All the old games still have such great communities around them. In my mind, the Demon Souls remake is still super fresh. I think, gosh, Sekiro is still fresh. I don't know. I love that they're pivoting. But I don't see them pivoting, and it's like, oh, that means we're not going to get third-person action again for a long time. No. They're doing this because they can now. The way they juggle multiple projects. They're at work on Elden Ring DLC, Elden Ring 2, the next, that next Soulsborne-style game. This doesn't get in the way. If anything, to me, this is like a bonus. This is an extra. This is a cherry on top. This is just awesome. We get to experience like a different flavor of this studio, and Miyazaki talked a lot about that. Like, he's been at the helm of so many projects. He now gets to put other people in that driver's seat. Like, he gets to give other artists an awesome opportunity to lead a game. So we're going to get like someone else's vision. And Miyazaki's the president of the studio. He would not put someone in a position like this who wasn't up for it. So that's Wo Long and Armored Core next year, and Zelda, and Pikmin. And the Crash Rumble game, and it just 2023 is looking good. Yeah, online battles could be totally insane. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not I feel incapable of commenting on Final Fantasy right now. I'm just trying to collect my thoughts about a From Software announcement. I mean, hey, we got it. We got it. Well, and I think, right, exactly, Peter. Like, Team Ninja's in that position where they have a lot of resources. They're able to be really prolific and pump games out. I'm under the impression they historically have had a larger studio than FromSoft. I mean, don't quote me on that, but that's the impression I'm under. It is... I don't think it's stated enough how insane it is that FromSoft pumps out the number of games that they do in the short time spans that they do. And Miyazaki, he's that artist, right? Where like he's like a painter painting a canvas, and he's not going to overthink it. Like, he's going to act on inspiration, and when he's content with where the canvas is and where the colors are and the shapes and the geometry, he's going to step away, and he's going to get out another canvas and start all over again. Like, I sense that he doesn't ruminate really over completed projects. Like, he puts everything he has into a game, and then he moves on. He moves on to the next thing. So, and that's what's so cool. Like, he's in that unique position where he's like he's like the president executive director. So, you know, he's still going to pick out those special projects he wants to be the lead on. But at the end of the day, he is running the studio, and he's managing people and resources, and any game that comes out of From Software that he's not technically the director of, it has his sign of approval. So that's really all that matters. Yeah, living in his office, snacking out of his refrigerator, just hanging out. Like, yeah, the flavor text. When we saw that quote for Elden Ring, it's like, oh no, like 90% of the flavor text was written by Miyazaki-san. It was just like, that's why I love this guy. That's why he's just the best. And we're just so lucky to be here and alive and gaming while he and his studio are in their prime. Right? It's dumb luck, and we are lucky. Game of the year.
Let's see now. Yeah, I remember recently last year winning Game of the Year. It's a fantastic feeling.
Yeah, this guy's a wild card.
As a nominee, you should be very happy and very proud.
If he's naked and cartwheeling in like 15 seconds, we shouldn't be surprised. I'd welcome it, honestly, at this point. Yeah, Cheeto, I don't know about Elden Ring DLC. I don't know. I mean, was the Coliseum PvP update it? You know, will they continue to support that? And they wanted to roll that out in advance because they had this big announcement here. They're late in their typical like cadence for announcing a DLC. If you look historically at like when a game has released and when they've announced DLC, they're now late. And the game, you could, I'd say, easily argue more than any other game they've ever made, it seems most ripe, most fertile for DLC. You know, but Sekiro didn't get DLC, right? Like, Demon's Souls didn't get DLC. I mean, they might move on. Miyazaki might be ready to move on. He might be like, hey, this game's been, what, 5, 6, 7 years of our studio's life. Let's move on to the next thing. We're ready as a studio to move on. They might be, and if they are, they are. I think we all hope there's Elden Ring DLC, and I think because it's such a big game, and it's been such a success, and a lot of these studios are still feeling the ripple effects of the pandemic, maybe it's just going to take a little longer, you know? I mean, we might not hear about it tonight. I don't know that there's going to be a final announcement beyond Game of the Year. I don't know that they're going to bookend the show with one more announcement. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I'd be surprised for From Software to announce anything else tonight. You know, it feels like that was it. They announced Armored Core, and we're going to find out if they get Game of the Year or not. Certainly doesn't mean they couldn't announce DLC elsewhere, but it does kind of make you wonder between now and like March, the 1-year anniversary of the game, when's the next big opportunity? I mean, they're From Software, it's Elden Ring, right? They don't have to do it at an established industry show, but this felt like a fair time to do it. So, but there's been so much data mining too, which I don't know. I think I have mixed feelings about data mining. I think a lot of us do. Like, I think if it's a game that's out in open shut book, it's done, and people are mining through the game to see maybe what was cut. I feel like that's a little different than people mining through a game. Oh, let's hear this. Is it me or am I a little underwhelmed by this? Is it just me? Oh, wow, that guy is rocking. Yeah, that didn't feel like much, to be honest. But yeah, like mixed feelings about data mining, right? But enough has come out that it feels like it's more than just cut content, right? Like text deep in the game, like suggesting different things. It feels more than that. It feels like there's more to come, and it would make a lot of sense. So, yeah, we'll just have to see. I mean, look at Forbidden West, right? Forbidden West came out in February. Elden Ring came out in March, and Forbidden West just got its DLC. So, I think because of the way games have changed too, maybe our expectations of DLC being announced, 3-6 months after the release of a game, maybe those should change. Maybe that's not going to be the cadence moving forward as games get bigger and more complex. I don't know. I still have hope there will be DLC, but it's unknown. We'll find out.
Goosebump, I told you. Alright. Game of the year winner is Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah! Woo-hoo! There's Katao. Oh, he even put his arms up. Oh, he's pumped. He's pumped. He's high-fiving. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Hidetaka. This was so deserved. This was so deserved for them. I like how they showed a few disappointed people. Like, huh? Who are these guys?
Thank you so much. フロムソフトウェアのみんな、そしてパートナーであるバンダイナムコの皆さん、たくさんある協力会社の皆さん、そして素晴らしい神話を執筆してくれたジョージ・アラン・マンティチ、そんな素晴らしいですね。僕の尊敬するエルデンリングチームのみんなに改めて大きな感謝を伝えるとともに、この喜びを分かち合いたいと思います。I would like to share this great appreciation with our entire Elden team members, everybody at From Software, our partner Bandai Namco, all collaborators, and last but not least, Mr. George R. Martin, who created the great mythos for this game.
Martin shout out. That's fair. That's deserved.
すごく大変で問題の多いプロジェクトだったので、ディレクターとしてはすごくほっとしています。そしてですね、このゲームオブザイヤー。
This is so deserved for them. This is so cool. What a cool moment. You can tell how humbled he is. This is a big deal.
We have faced so many difficulties while developing this game, so as a director, I'm really relieved. And this might not be the light thing to say at the on the occasion of the receiving the GOTY award, but I have made up my mind to create even more interesting games than this one. このエルデンリングについてもまだやりたいことありますので、その点でも今回の実装すごく大きな励みになりました。As for Elden Ring, we still have several more things we want to do.
Oh!
Getting this GOTY award really encouraged us.
As for Elden Ring, there's more we want to do. And did I catch that quote right? He said that this essentially motivated him to produce even better games than this? It was a little tough to read that, but I think that was the quote. Like almost downplaying this success, that this is like one step, forward. Like this was inspiration. This was validating. This showed him and the team they could do something like this.
Finally, we would like to, express our utmost gratitude to all the fans who played, who enjoyed, and who supported these titles. And we create the games we want to create and do our best because of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, two game of the years now. We know all the previous games should have won. Like any year one of these games comes out, it's head and shoulders above.
I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
Who was that guy? Bill Clinton? Is that guy like a troll? Who was that guy? Did you just shout out Bill Clinton? Jeff looks confused. Who was that guy? Was that guy like a QAnon actor? What is going on? Said something about something about being reformed by Bill Clinton? What? You saw Jeff. Jeff like triple take. Jeff was like, huh? Okay. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like that was a soft confirmation for DLC. That was that Mikola? Was that Mikola on stage? Who was that? Yeah, I felt like they confirmed DLC, right? I mean, that felt like, he said, we have a couple more things we want to do. Leland, I'm not even looking at the live chat. Like, are people pumped? Are people mad? Are people trolling? Are they trolling? Are they going losing their mind about the Bill Clinton kid? What's happening? Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, it felt like probably a lot of reading into it, but we've talked about it a little bit already in the Discord server. This Coliseum update feels like something they could milk. Like this is a way, I think Soup said it in the server, but like this is a way for them to keep Elden Ring relevant for some years to come, to give Elden Ring legs, which all of the games still have very active communities, great PvP scenes. But this Coliseum system could just really give Elden Ring legs, and I think improve what a lot of people felt was a lacking, online multiplayer experience. So imagine more Coliseums, or we've talked about like verticality, or maybe a boss rush that takes place in a Coliseum, or anything like that. So I could see more updates there, but when they say a couple more things, that doesn't sound like patches, right? That doesn't sound like little nips and tucks. That sounds like a content expansion. And I think given the game, and even Miyazaki right there in his acceptance speech, alluded to how difficult this game was for the studio to make. So,
The nominees for Game of the Year are A Plague Tale Requiem,
I don't know what is auto playing here. Let me just bring down my volume myself. But yeah, it was a big game. It was a challenging game to make. So yeah, it's more than patches for sure. I think we're getting a proper content expansion. I think we're going to see more with the Coliseum update. And we're getting Armored Core next year. So, and Elden Ring won the award, right? So I feel like we got what is happening here? What are we being auto-fed on YouTube? I can't really vouch for what this is going into right now. Let's just hope this isn't something like vastly inappropriate, that YouTube is just, the algorithm is like, hey, you're going to watch this right now. But yeah, right. Caveman, like when he says a couple things, could that mean multiple? DLCs. DS3 got 2, right? DS2 got 3. So say that 5 times fast. Oh man, I'm like speechless. I don't even know what to say. You can smell the frustration and hatred from God of War Ragnarok devs and Sonic fans. Well, I mean, are the God of War Ragnarok devs actually upset? I don't know about that. I mean, they made out very well tonight. They pretty much owned the show until the very end. And yes, Sonic. I thought Sonic was going to win the Player's Choice. It was in the lead for a while. Yeah, no, totally, kid, man. Yeah, that's and knowing how seriously Miyazaki takes all of this, his relationship with the fans and just the medium and him as a figure, a public figure in the space. Yeah, he ain't talking about patches. Like he's talking about meaningful expansions, at least one to the game, if not more than one. So that's exciting. That's really exciting. Yeah, I mean Ragnarok. It's not like Ragnarok shouldn't have been represented in the show. I think that's fair enough. But yeah, it nearly swept. So to see Elden Ring get a couple. Yeah, so Leland, you're saying the yeah, the kid just went. So I'm saying he was like a crasher. This was like what was this? It was like a kid who escaped from Jeffrey Epstein's island or something. Like ran up on stage, pulled sort of like. I mean, thankfully Miyazaki got his speech out. Yeah, security I'm sure was on the way. They're probably all boozed up on Pacino juice. They missed him crawling up there. Yeah, Elden Ring got a couple. I think it won RPG and maybe one other award. The show was kind of a blur after Armored Core. I don't really remember anything. Yeah, Keeley was nervous as hell. Keeley was like, "This is about to go off the rails." It just felt like, I don't know, something weird was going on. That kid was the originator. I think the security guards were on Pacino juice. I think that's why he got up there in the first place. I think they were deep in Pacino juice and I don't know, Madsen cigarettes. I feel like Michael Madsen maybe more of a guy who likes to smoke things. I feel like he was smoking something in the back. He was puffing and passing something. Yeah, Keeley like could not have cut off the feed quickly enough. He's like, "All right, that was a great show. Good night, everybody." Trying to nervously button his blazer. Oh, that was awesome. That was awesome. And again, it was fun, right? Like no award show or video game showcase is ever going to be perfect. You're never going to please everybody. That was better than some previous game awards. There were some interesting announcements. There were a lot of funny, like unintentional comedy wrinkles throughout. There always are. These things are inherently weird and awkward. And I've also been live streaming for 3.5 hours. So I am probably going to bounce. And I am actually being dead serious. I might order some food. This was so much fun. And yeah, this is like, I don't know, popping the live stream cherry, I guess. I've never done this before. And maybe we'll turn this into like a regular thing when there's some kind of industry event or, something going on. But yeah, super fun hanging with everybody. Thanks for coming in. This was a great time. And I'm pretty sure this will just archive on the channel. So yeah, we'll definitely do this again. And yeah, Caveman, me too. Like, I don't even know that I would have watched for, if not for hanging with you guys. This ended up being super fun. So maybe we'll turn this into a tradition. But yeah, I'm going to bounce. We have a lot to think about. Oh man, like go give that Armored Core trailer another watch. I'm sure it's already been posted again. We'll have a lot to talk about in the coming weeks. But yeah, this was so much fun, guys. Thanks for hanging. And yeah, good night. Miyazaki!